Okay, let's wait for a couple more minutes. After that, we can start.
Okay, sure.
So guys, I hope everybody is seeing my screen. Let's do a quick recap, and then we can see what the topics which we left yesterday, like customizing the architecture, creating our own matrices, at the same time creating our own endpoints as well. And then we can proceed to microservices with Spring Boot. Cool. So let's do a quick recap of what we discussed yesterday. Okay, can somebody please tell me what is security? Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Can somebody
Security
please tell
means
me
we have
what is security?
security means the authorized person can only access the data, whatever they have the authorized or
Okay, authenticated
right
person.
can access the data only. Other person cannot.
Okay, that's good.
Security purpose, personal data.
That's cool. right? Now, what is Spring Security? Guys, anybody? So you guys didn't understand any of the topics which we discussed yesterday?
Spring Security basically it's a project which is Spring guys came with the predefined lots of classes which help us to build some security for our applications.
Can I say something like predefined classes which will allow us to include uh, in our application to get this security feature enabled?
Yeah. Yes.
Defined classes to enable security in our application. Okay.
Security provides multiple. Hello, Harish, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I said security provides multiple filters to authenticate and authorize.
Okay. There are multiple filters available. So can I name it like a filter chain available?
Yes, of change of filters. Yeah. Okay.
Basically, there are 15, but we reviewed 4 of them, right? And we also created our own custom filter, and we appended it just before we appended it to the chain, but we will give you getting the flow just before the user authentication filter, username and password authentication filter to be precise, right? Next, please. Some of the annotations which we saw, some of the classes which we described, I mean, which we implemented in our Spring Security. We saw something like enable web security. We discussed about this, right? To enable web security in our application. Guys, you guys forgot our
Yes, Harish. Yeah.
perfect. Okay. And we created our own user detail service. Basically, it's implementation of user details interface, right? A service, it's
Yeah.
implementation of
Yeah.
user detail interface.
Yes.
User details interface. Sorry, user details service interface. So that's an interface. And we also implemented truck user details. Basically, it's an implementation of user details. There is also one more service which comes with predefined methods, because we have to respond the user details in that specific format. Remember, guys, I've been talking about that for a while.
Yes.
Right. That's not service, user details. Right. What next? What did we do? We configured a basic entry point, basic authentication entry point, right? That's the basic
Yeah.
entry point for our um, application before going into the security. Right. And we overrided 2 configure methods, one which will be taking authentication manager, the other one will be HTTP security, right?
Yeah. Configure method.
2 configure methods,
Yes.
one with authentication manager builder, and the other one will be HTTP security, right? What else we did? How about let's come to Jwt implementation. So what else we did in Jwt? So what is Jwt first? Tell me. What is Jwt? I gave
Uh,
introduction about OAuth. I mean, like OAuth protocol, and what is Jwt, right? Can somebody tell me what is OAuth and what is Jwt?
Yeah, it's big. Shareability is basically JSON web token in which we generate one token for the user to log in and get
So
authenticated
basically, it has all the information regarding the user.
regarding the user. Yeah.
Okay. So what is OAuth?
With OAuth, basically, we used to go to some website, so we don't need to create every time our account on that website. We used to provide our existing account as a uh, short-term login, we can say.
Yeah, that is the example, but actually OAuth is a protocol. I specify, right? It's a protocol how you are going to implement your security, and JWT is a message format which may be used in OAuth, right?
Yeah.
Protocol. Right. Now, what else we saw here? If I remember correctly, we implemented our own HTTP filter, didn't we?
Yes, once per request filter.
Yeah. So we implemented our own HTTP filter. Basically, I will write filter that implements once per request filter per request filter. And here we did some customization to handle the token, right? Just before
Yeah.
we are sending our request to next filter in the chain, that is user details, username and password authentication filter, right? Here
Yeah.
we handled JWT token. Basically, we just extracted the information from the token by using the algorithm and key. That's all we did here. Cool. Now, what else we discussed yesterday? How about accurators?
Yeah. It's feature to monitor the application.
So it's a inbuilt feature is provided by inbuilt feature, a predefined feature provided by boot, which will help us to monitor the application. It can be health wise, it can be performance matrices, it will provide everything, right? So there are some
Yeah.
13 endpoints which we saw. 13 endpoints. Can somebody please name at least one or two?
Uh, it is health,
Health, perfect.
In
So it will give you the
info.
information that's regarding the downstream systems. For example, yesterday we saw that our application is connecting to MySQL. So it was checking a MySQL and we need a disk space. So it was checking the physical disk space as well. And there is a ping as well, right?
Yes.
Cool. What's next?
Uh, Health info.
Yeah, info. That's a custom endpoint which we will be using that.
Thread dump.
We saw thread dump.
Heap dump.
What is thread dump? What is heap dump?
Basically, in that heap dump, whatever the objects we create, that are once it is not in use, we can say. Garbage collector will go and dump into this memory area.
So basically, this is the information about your application. Basically, information in the sense, in Java, everything is class and object, right? So in turn, to communicate with a class, we need object, right? So the object
Yeah.
related information will be dumped in the heap dump. That means our program will create objects in the heap dump, right? So
Yeah.
if we take the heap dump, we'll have the information about the objects, how our application is creating the objects. So if there is an issue with the memory in your application, fortunately with Java 8, we will not be seeing that kind of errors because you can vastly increase the size. Earlier it was 4 GB. Now we can increase whatever the limit based on your hard disk. So if there is an issue with the memory, you can use this dump to analyze the object creation in your application, right? What is thread dump? If If I remember correctly, I was saying about thread dump as well. That means even though if it is a single threaded application, our JVM internally will be spawning multiple threads. Multiple threads will be talking to each other to perform a task. So if there is any deadlock, we can find out that deadlock by using thread dump. That means a thread will be referencing to another thread will be referencing to the, like it will form a loop, right?
Yeah.
So for that purpose, we will be
Yes.
using thread dump. Earlier, previous days when boot was not there, when we used to live with the application servers, say for example, Tomcat, where we are deploying our physical war file, at that point of time, how can we retrieve this? Basically, there are some two commands. So this is specifically related to that Linux. So we will be getting a dump and we'll be saving it in a file. So it was a hectic process. Now with this Spring Boot, it became really easier, right? What else? How about mappings?
Yeah.
About
Mapping.
mappings?
It will have all the mappings about our application, what we mentioned.
Perfect. How about beans?
Yeah. How many beans in our application has been created by
So
IOC?
whatever the beans which will be created in IOC.
Yes.
Perfect. How about logger?
Yeah. Whatever logger we have been using,
Yes.
those information will be there.
Cache.
Yeah. Cache and cache also was there.
Yeah, if you are using any cache related information in our application, if you are caching any kind of data, that cache will be informed here. And for logger, you can retrieve the logger by name. Similarly, cache, you can retrieve the cache by name, right? And we have
Yeah.
schedulers.
Schedulers. Yeah.
So if there is any scheduler, we will find that information here, right? And there are many more. That's good enough. Now let's see how we can create a custom. I want to provide information about my application. Let's say, so I would say it's like a custom metrics. Let's see how we can do that very quickly. Sorry. Okay, let me open our JPA truck. If you want just a static information, say for example, where is our resources? All you have to do is info dot server dot our application name equal to truck, for example. So if I provide like this, I can see this information under the info. Okay, let's quickly have a look at that. Okay, so let's open our security. Architecture, ACU architecture, and I was speaking about info. Let's open that. So this is the information which I just put in there, right? So this is general static information, guys. You can put anything, whatever you want. This is regarding the application, right? Let's see how we can do this more dynamic way. Okay, let's say I want to generate, I want to get user information, or maybe I want to find out how many users available in our database, right? I want to display that kind of information, or maybe how many concurrent users are running at the same time using our application, right? Let's see that how we can do that. For the purpose, let me create one package here. Let's name it custom matrices. You can name anything, guys. Basically, again, this kind of feature you may not be using it because we already have enough information until unless if there is a prerequisite. Okay, something like, let's say, when I was working earlier, our application depends on multiple applications. It depends on like 5 more applications. So they want to know what is the status of my application. That means how is it behaving with the rest of the applications. So at that point of time, it has to connect to each and every application, that 5 of them, and you need to get the information, health check. So let's say if 4 applications are running and one is not running, so we're telling it's degraded because I cannot communicate with one, but that won't stop me from communicating with the rest 4 of that. So this kind of information you may have to do that manually. So for that purpose, I'll be showing this. So this will be used by your Kubernetes or Docker containers maximum. com.truck.us custom matrices. Finish in new class. Let's name it custom informator. Custom information. Right. So I have to implement info contributor, and there will be a overridden method which you need to implement. So let's say if I want to provide some information about my user details in my database, all you have to do is implement your repository here, and then logic to get information here. For example, I am not going to do that. I'll be just writing my name here, just to tell you how you can provide the information to the accutator, right? So all you have to do is use a builder. Builder dot with detail. So whatever the detail, give the key here. Let's say a name. This has to be, the name has to be from more dynamic, guys. I'm, for just information purpose, I am showing just as it is, but this information, whatever the information you are going to pass to this builder, it has to be more dynamic way. So as of now, we don't have any requirements. I just wanted to show you guys how we can use this custom information. So I'm just showing you that. Builder.build. This is a builder design pattern which we'll be implementing. The application is restarting. Good. Let's see. Just a minute. Accutator. Let's search for. It should be in the accutator info. Where is our info? Oh, I forgot. I need to provide this to our IOC. Otherwise, our IOC won't pick it from here. Right. Everything we need to create object, guys. We need to create beans. So I'm creating a component, or if you want, we can provide it as a service also. There is a only difference between service and component is service is symbolic way of telling that it acts as a service layer. That's all. There is no much difference by using this component or service. Cool. Now let's see. I guess it is building. Yes, I got the information here. So whatever the dynamic information you will put, it will be available here for your reference for any other person. Sometimes your containers may be using this kind of information. So at that point of time, you may have to use it. Right. Any questions on that, guys? So any questions?
Can you tell me about that builder design pattern, how it actually works?
That's not our this one. Sorry, if I get some time, I'll try to cover that because today I have to cover microservices.
Okay, Harish.
Yeah, I'll try to
Thank
cover
you.
it in the last 5 minutes. Okay, it won't take much time.
Okay.
Cool. Uh, let's see how I can implement a health indicator. This is regarding the health. Let's say if your application, whatever I spoke earlier, your application is connecting with different other applications. You want to find the health of that application and connect. For that purpose, I'll be implementing one more class. Custom service health indicator. Right. So it will be implementing a health indicator interface like that. Sorry, my bad. Cancel. And here is your health. So whatever the health related information you can pass here. Say for example, if you are interacting with some other another external microservice or a service, so you'll be taking the endpoint here. And you will be connecting using whatever the technology. Maybe if you are using a queues or if you are using an endpoint to endpoint communication, you will be using REST client or maybe HTTP, a general HTTP connection, the URL connection, and you can get the information about that client. All you have to do is specify what is the problem. I mean, like whether it is working or not. So like that, if it is down, up, if you want to customize your status, you can do that by using the status code. But as of now, I am going to use down dot. If you want to provide details, you can provide, else not required, but I'm going to provide detail. Say for example, service not available, something like service, whatever the service name, not available, like that. And again the build, right? And that's all you have to do. Specify again, like give this as a component bean to your, right? This will be appended to your health information. We'll see that it got loaded. Indicator and our health here. If you see for custom service, so status down, I specified as down because service not available. So like this, you can provide the information about the dependent applications or downstream applications. So any questions, guys? Any questions on this architecture? Akshay, Ramlal or Akshay, I'm not sure. As I promised, I'll be speaking about builder pattern in some time. But let's get through the syllabus first.
Okay.
Okay, Harish.
Cool. If no questions, we can start with our microservices. Perfect. Okay, let's get back to our notepad and we'll speak about microservice. First of all, it's a buzzing word, microservice, microservice, microservice. Okay, what is the need for microservice? First question, what is the need for microservice? That means we have some flaws in the current system, in the current design, right? So that means we have some disadvantages with the current implementation of applications. So what are the disadvantages in the current application implementation strategy or current application implementation? Right. And after that, we will see what is microservice then. Okay. Now, I want your information, guys. So please be interactive with this. I want to know what kind of disadvantages you observed so far, whatever the implementation we did. Like first we started with servlets, then we went to Spring, and then after that we removed our this one front end layer, and we came up with the SOA technology, this SOA information, the architectural style of SOA, coming up with multiple services. Right now, I want to know what are the flaws. If you observe anything, please let me know. Any kind of flaws or disadvantages or anything which you guys might have observed?
Oh, it's like a monolithic application, whatever we have done before. Uh, in that, our all services are in the same application. So
Monolith, all the services are in the same place or same code base. Cool.
yes.
Right. So that is
So
okay. What is the problem with that if we implement everything in the single layer?
so if modification done, then it's affected to all the application, and also debug is hard for us because
Okay. So issues
debugging is
creation of code effect will be there. Cool.
debug also little bit difficult for the programmer because we have like some of the application we have 1 lakhs of record, 1 lakhs of lines even. So debugging is difficult, as I think.
I won't agree with that because there won't be any connection. Debugging is in a single application. But anyway, we'll talk about that. Debatable point anyway. Somebody feel that way. I'll feel the other way. But anyway, that is a debatable point. We'll speak about that. So anything else?
Uh,
Okay, no worries. Let me.
new
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yes, implementing new technology also important.
Cool. Implementation of new tech technology is difficult. Right. Okay. Now everything is fine. Let's see with the picture whatever the information which we discussed. So everything is true. Let me put it in another way, and I'll explain for the other people who never heard of microservices or who never worked on microservices. Right. Paint. Those are good points, Akshay. Thank you. Okay. So if you remember properly, we are deploying or we are delivering or at least we are building the applications into a single war file, right? So that means our code will be our JSP pages, all the everything, the HTML pages, the class files, the resources, jar files, whatever the information you need for your application, that will be packed in war. This is a war file, and the information which we will be having here is all the classes, class information, resources, front-end pages or front-end technologies, and many more. So we'll be having everything here together, and we will be somewhere. This is called a server, or maybe a supercomputer or server. Basically, it's called a server. Inside that, we will be having our application servers. These are application servers. Or load balancer, maybe you can think about that in a hypervisors. So we will be deploying this in over here in the server in each one of them, and we'll be load balancing them properly. So based on that, whenever a request comes from a user to the server, so it will distribute the load equally to all the applications, all the application servers. Right now, so far so good, everything is going well. Now what is the problem with this approach? The problem is, let's say here I want to make it modularized. My everything is tightly coupled. So let's say if I want to use different kinds of, let's say there is a duplicate code in my application, right? So I don't want to do that. What I have to do, I would like to import the common jar files, and I would like to do that in a different way, right? Like modularizing the program. So that is after this war files, there is a next approach which our technical guys came up with. So in the same, so it is also war file again. It's also war file again, but divided into independent modules. Again, everything is combined into a war file. It's nothing new, but it's instead of writing in in the same package, they will be including it as a commons, maybe utils, some kind of different modules, independent modules, right? Again, everything will be combined into a war file, right? Let's say now again everything will come combined and will be deployed in the same way, same fashion. Again, everything, the flow continues, right? Now let's say I'm a new fresher guy, so I've been assigned with some of the project, and I did some code change here, maybe in one of the module, right? One of the module. So at that point of time, I have to build the entire application. I have to build the entire application, and again I have to deploy everything. Even though it's a single line code, that is a hectic process, right? And if my code functionality is not working fine, in some cases, if there is a dependency on this module for everything, all the other modules, it is a chance that our application may go down. That means we may not even respond. That means we may not be in a position to access the request and respond back as well. So it is a failure case, right? So that is one of the disadvantage, right? Like Akshay said, excuse me. So if I want to implement a new technology altogether, let's say I have been working with Java 7, I want to go to Python to do some of the data processing or data management tasks. Can I do that? Can I integrate that in the monolith? No, I cannot do that because it is tightly coupled. Because it is, I can only implement either in Java. That's all. Even I cannot even go to Java 8. I don't know, because maybe my Java 8 features may not be compatible, backward compatible with my Java 7, right? So there are so many problems. So I cannot change the technology on the fly whenever I need, right? This is one of the disadvantage. Now let's see the one more thing. For example, I guess we are in the Christmas season, right? So we will be having some Black Friday deals, or maybe some holiday season deals, or back to school offers, right? Good Friday deals or whatever. Based on the deals, let's consider this as an enterprise application. For example, uh, any online shopping website, Amazon. Let's say Amazon, because everybody is familiar with Amazon. So at that point of time, we may get more searches, right? So people will be searching more, and he may not be in a position to, I mean, like, he don't like some products after searching. That's all. His search will end here. Some other people, they will be searching, and then they will be going to order service, and then they'll be placing a order, right? Here I'm getting more traffic for search only, not for ordering. In this case, to meet the needs of this the traffic, right? To meet the needs of this, I have to horizontally scale my application. That means if I am running on 10 servers, application servers, I may have to scale it to 20. In all the 20 servers, I need to deploy my monolith completely, entire together. Like maybe it may be 1 GB data, 1 GB of war file. I have to deploy everything again in 10 more applications, sorry, 10 more application servers, right? So that is one of the problem. So I'm eating up more space here, even though it is not necessary, right? Because I will be getting only more traffic for the search, not for everything else, right? So these are some of the problems with the monolith. So any other questions, guys? Sorry, any questions first of all? Are you guys clear with the current implementation, whatever we implemented so far? Because this is also a monolith. Okay, now some intelligent folks come up with this solution to this problem, and that is, hey, we are dividing into modules. Why can't we divide into completely independent services, right? Let's see that now. Right, now let's see that. So earlier everything was in a single file, single var file. Now different microservices will come into place to handle all these kind of requests, right? So my application is completely divided into different, like, let's say 9 microservices, and I'll be deploying these microservices in the server, in different servers. and I'll be load balancing them, right? I'll be deploying everything in here. Now let's see how this approach is going to solve the problem which we discussed, right? Let's say there is a sale again first, okay? And before sale, I'll be running on, let's say I'm running with 10 application servers, okay? Each instance is in 10 application servers, right? Let's say my search is in 10, my order is in 10, my add to cart or whatever the other functionalities is in 10 different servers, right? 10 different application servers. Now because of this holiday season, there was a sale, which this sale event. So I expected some, let's say there is a traffic which is our, excuse me, which was normally around like 100 transactions per second. Now I'm expecting something around like 250 or 300 transactions per second, and that too I'll be expecting only for search, not more than this one for order service, right? Order service will be less. So at that point of time, I will scale only my search services, not the other ones. So I'll be saving some cost here, right? I'll be saving some cost here, and obviously my performance will be much better compared to the monolith, because I'm just depending on only of this one, right? Now let's talk about fault tolerance. Let's say one of the service is down. It is something related to let's say it is related to our after ordering a tracking service. This is related to tracking. This is related to tracking service, and this tracking service is down. But if with the other services which I have right now, can I run the business? That means, am I able to respond to the customer needs? Yes, we can do that. So the fault tolerance will be in only the affected services. It won't affect the entire application, right? So we have some of the advantages here. It won't affect the entire application. Now coming back to one more thing. Let's say I have changed some information right over here in this module or in this service. So all I have to do is I have to build and deploy only this service, right? I don't have to deploy any of these services again. I have to deploy only one service. What is the problem with my service? Whatever the code change I did. So in that place, I'm saving some time for my building, right? And at the same time, I'll be saving time on testing purpose as well. I don't have to test the functionalities which is already tested and deployed, right? I have to test the new functionality which I just developed, and it is going to affect the only one service. So I have to thoroughly test my only one service, not everything else, right? This is one of the advantage. Now uh, let's coming to the point of debugging. Basically it comes under disadvantages. Why I will tell. So let's say there are hundreds of microservices, okay, and I'm a fresher. I don't know the flow of the service. I don't know from which service to which service it is going. So there is some issue with let's say there is let's follow this flow here. One service, one more service, one more service, here one more service, here one more service, like this. There are 6 services. So there is some issue with my application. I don't know where it is happening, right? So what I will do, I will initiate the debugging purpose here, right over here, and I'll find out, I have to find out which service it is going to. Maybe it will go here, and this service call will call this. Again, it will come to here. Again, this service will call here, and maybe my service will call this one, and again it may go here. Multiple implementations. So here, for a fresher, imagine if any person who doesn't have a complete knowledge about the application, when you are trying to debug a issue, I don't know the flow, first of all, right? There are too many components connected together, right? So I have to debug each and every component. So which is a little bit tricky. That's why I told it is a debatable point. When in the monolith, everything will be in the same application. You don't have to jump from this service to that service to another service, one more service to one more service, right? So it will be stayed in the same place. So I feel that way it may be easier, right? So any questions on this, guys? Any questions, any concerns? So are you guys clear with the actual problem what we are facing right now? And again, guys, I want to make a point here. Anyway, I will be discussing about that. Not all the applications can be implemented in microservices design pattern or microservices approach or microservices architecture, right? First of all, we need to find out, okay, what is the need for microservices? Is it really necessary in our application? Can I run with independent? Sorry, can I run with monolith? right? What is the problem I'm facing with monolith? Why I have to go with microservices? What kind of benefit I'll get out of microservices, right? That depends on your business, again, business and your requirements, the way you are implementing your application. So it's if microservice architecture won't be suited for all the applications. At the same time, monolith will not be suited for all the thing, and monolith is not so bad thing as well. Let's say if your application is just only like 10 or 15 pages, not more than that, and you do not have much functionalities, there is no point of going for microservice. Unnecessarily you will be spending too much time maintaining these services. So to maintain these services, you need basically expertise, the knowledge in the technology. Otherwise it's really it is going to get difficult, right? And there are some other disadvantages, like as you are going to allow this communication between service to service, so there will be a problem with the security as well. You cannot provide security for each and every microservice. That means uh, to communicate between intra communication itself, so there is a problem, right? At the same time, there will be a network latency as well, because here I'll be speaking instead of speaking with one system, I'll be speaking with multiple systems. It doesn't mean that it is slow, but there will be a network latency. That means it has to communicate with multiple things, right? Now that is one of the a problem, and it may eat up the servers, because I may have to come up with if you speak about uh, let me come up with a word. If you speak about VMs, now the current trend changed, but earlier we used to do in a VMs. VM will be allocated with a fixed space like 50 GB. So imagine if I'm deploying a single microservice, which is very lightweight, in a 50 GB data, I will be using only 500 MB or 1 GB. What will happen to the 49, right? It's a waste of this one, right? We will speak about the implementation of the other technologies later, but the old way, I'm still in the old way, right? Now this is one of the disadvantage. And what else? Okay, so to deploy, earlier I used to deploy only one monolith, only one, just altogether one, and put it here in my deployment. That's all, it will take care of that. Now I need to deploy independent components. Even though it is easy, it takes time completely, right? And management will be managing these independent components will be, you need expertise in that again, right? Now earlier we used only one deployment, I mean monolith, so there is no need to find different services there. So it can communicate with my service layer can communicate with controller and everything. Similarly, controller can send the response back. Here, let's say if there is a dependency, I need to find out the appropriate microservice, and I need to communicate that with that. So here I need to configure that my service details. This is something called discoverability. So how my microservice A is going to discover my another microservice B? Are you going to hard code everything, or is there any other technology which you are going to follow to dynamically read these details, right? So these kind of things, there will be some complications about the microservices as well. Again, microservices is not like suitable for all the projects, all the project implementations. No, you need to find out what is the need for it, and then we have to implement. Cool. Any questions, guys? Okay. And one more thing, if you want to implement, let's say all my 10 microservices implemented in Java, if you want to implement the other one in Golang, let's say the 11th one, you are feasible to do that. You can implement in whatever the language you like the most, and you can do that, right? And it's just a service, right? Service to service communication is very easy. That means it's platform independent, system independent, language independent, and everything. It will still follow the SOA principles, right? Okay, any questions? Any concerns? Cool. Okay, let's see about this. Let me open a PPT. We'll just show you how the presentation, the monolith works. Okay, for example, I'll be discussing about here everything here. So let's see the same application which we just developed. So it has a presentation layer. Earlier we had JSPs, and then there was a service layer, and then there was a persistent layer, that is basically JDBC layer, and then it was interacting with DB. So this is a monolith. That's all. There is a monolith. So there are some problems which we already discussed, and let's say I have some more here. So basically, as the functionality increases, the size grows. That means we will be implementing new classes, new features, and the size grows exponentially. We can't predefine the size. It has to be this size, or like, we don't know. Based on our functionality, it may change, right? Again, I'm discussing about the same thing. So if you change a single line of code, you have to deploy the entire application, right? And again, not easy to new technology, right? So as the size of the application is very big, it may take some time to load. It may take some time to start the application because of the prerequisites, downloading the jar files, or like, because it's a huge application, right? So these are the drawbacks about monolith. And now let's see what are the advantages which we are going to get about microservices. So if you see, this is a microservice architecture basically. So it is a debatable point again about the DB. So some people will tell that you have to have an independent DB for microservice. Of course, that is a original microservice design, but in some applications, in the current world as well, is it feasible to have, let's say I have 100 microservices, and my database is like Oracle. Is it possible for me to get 100 licenses? I mean, like, instances, right? I need to think about the cost. I need to think about uh, multiple problems which may come up, at least because of that. So what we have to do, sometimes you may see there will be a different schema in the same database, or you may see different databases, or maybe all the microservices might be talking to a single database, right? Again, there is nothing called right and wrong. It depends on the needs of your application. So if you see here, our microservices are intra-communicable. That means any microservice can communicate with any microservice for information, right? These are some of the principles on which we need to build our microservices. um, Single responsibility. That means your microservice should come up with or whenever you are designing your microservice, you need to define the scope of that microservice, saying that, hey, it is going to do only this kind of functionality. This is a responsibility of the service. It's not going to do anything else. Let's say, for example, search. It's going to do only search. It's not going to do something else, right? So, and again, it was built around the business capabilities. Based on your business needs, you are going to build your microservice, right? It should be designed by failure. That means, in case of this microservice goes down, let's say this is going down, it's not going to impact the other deployment, right? So it will still be having communication with the other microservices, and we can still be getting some information wherever there is a fault or failure node. Only that information that related to that information or related to that microservice will not get the information. Everything else, we still can run the application, right? Any questions, guys?
Yeah, there is one question.
Yes, please.
Yes, based on a business needed, if we have like 10 we have like 100 of microservices, and if you use separate type of database, so what type of database basically you use on each microservices? Can we use Oracle or MySQL or PostgreSQL type of database
You can
on
use,
each microservices?
let's say my business need is something like, I want to do a search. Okay, that is my business, right? So I don't care about the business. I mean, like, my business is telling me, my functionality is, I want to do a search, open search. If I search with any keyword, I need to get the information, right? For that purpose, I'll be going with not non-relational databases, right? I don't have to store information in relations for that kind of business needs. So I'll be going with NoSQL databases. Let's say there is some capability called Elasticsearch. It's an open search. Basically, if you provide a keyword, it will search in their entire database, and it's really fast. You can connect, one microservice can connect to Elasticsearch, the other thing can connect to Oracle, the other thing can connect to Postgres. Again, that depends on your need, guys. That depends on your need, what kind of feature you are implementing, what kind of um, what do you say this what kind of acceptance criteria do you have? I mean, like, on what basis your functionality has to work, on what basis your microservice has to work. So based on that need, we will be selecting our backend. And yes, we can
Okay.
communicate with multiple databases. There is no such thing called you have to communicate with only one database. No, I mean not a single
Okay.
microservice.
Then based on our
Multiple microservices can communicate with multiple databases. That's what I meant.
okay. Then based on our business data, we can use different types of database. There is no such restriction to use only same types of database.
No, no, there is no restriction. It again depends on your needs. It again depends on the problem which you are trying to solve. Let's say if my data is not at all relational. Okay, I'll give one more example, guys. How many of you guys know about any kind of networking? Let it be anything. At least you might have heard about networks, right? So I'll speak about a little bit of network, the mobile network which you are using, right? So let's say in India, if you're using Airtel or Vodafone or Jio, so how they are going to maintain this user details? So in the form of a network, right? First, they'll start with a country. So that is a hop. Under that country, what kind of hops they have? That means cities or maybe states. Under that, they will go for specific areas or specific cities. Under that, again, there will be a node. So this is like a graph, right? If you let me open node paint. Right. First, it will start with like this. Oh, why is it coming like this? So that's my country, and under that I'll have multiple states. That is my hops or network, whatever you call that, based on my feature. So what kind of network I'm doing? So under that, again, under these things, I'll be having cities or circles, on the Andhra Pradesh circle or maybe Telangana, whatever, like that. Under this again, I'll be having independent cities, right? Under this again, I'll be having like villages, rulers, and here at the end we will be getting the information about broadband services, or we'll be getting information about cellular services and everything. So the link goes from here to all the way down, like that, from here to here, all the way down, and goes on. So do you think it is possible for us to store this kind of information in a relational database, right? So even though it is possible, but it is not efficient way. So there is nothing called impossible. You can do everything with SQL databases, but it is not efficiency. It's not efficient. That means while retrieving or inserting data, you may not be performing in a better terms. So for this purpose, we have something called graph technology, graph databases. For example, Janus graph. This is one of the graph technology. So you'll be dealing with that kind of technologies, because that is specific for this kind of use cases, this kind of requirements, right? So based on your needs, you will be choosing the technologies and also the database, everything, whatever you speak about implementation of the project. So based on the need, based on the requirements, right, we will be specifying our goals, sorry, our technologies. Clear?
Yes, that is.
Thank you. Right, any other questions? Okay, moving forward, I guess I already spoke about advantages, like that can be deployed independently, can be scaled easily. As it is a small product, it is easy to manage. It can be developed using different technologies. It will not affect the entire system. So these are the things which we already spoke about. So I'm skipping this slide. Similarly, disadvantages. So as I told already, there is an intra communication, right? So it gets more complex, right? It gets more complex to maintain the applications, to deploy and maintain, right? So costly in terms of network usage, because I told already intercommunication will be always costly, right? Less secure because we are exposing our services to communicate with each other, right? Even though we don't expose outside uh, of the specification, the DNS, but it is still less secure, right? Debugging is a debatable topic. So because the flow changes, excuse me, the flow, I don't know about the flow. For a layman, we don't know about the flow, so it gets really difficult. In monolith, all you need to do is like go in a top down approach. That's all. Find from controller till DB. You can easily know the flow. But here, it's not that case. you need to check so many configuration files. We don't know what kind of configuration you did. Some guys will use dynamic configuration, right? That means at the time of deploying, your server will be giving you an independent IP. Now, because of this elastic IPs, elastic servers, which we have right now, so it is auto scalable. So I don't know what kind of IP it will be generated. Dynamically, it will be configuring. So that in that cases, my debugging will be a little bit trickier. So that's why I was telling about debugging is kind of debatable topic, right? Any questions, guys?
Oh, so for debug purpose, if we create log files in a project, then it's good for monolithic, right? I mean, it's creating log files in a project.
Yeah, but in the log file at a max, what you can do, you can log the error response, but you cannot log from where and what it is going, right? What it is going to do, what is expected and everything, right?
Yes.
It's really
Okay.
impossible to
Thank you.
log everything. And at times, if you put too much of logs, your application may end up in performing very less. I mean, like if you speak about performances, the deployment application may eat up so many resources for logging itself, which is not encouraged. Again, when I was previously working with one of the organization, so there was a deadlock, and it prevented our applications from running from 120 at 120 transaction per second to 36 because of the deadlock. So it happened mainly because of the logger. Logger was waiting on some other logger to respond, and that logger never responded. So it was holding some of the resources. Again, it depends on implementation, guys. So the implementation technology was so bad that they were eating so much of resources for the logger itself. So that's why we encountered that problem. But it is not possible to log each and every event of the application. Right. Anyway, any other questions? Cool. No questions? I wanted you guys to know about one more important topic when we deal with microservices. So I'll be drawing a little bit of picture and trying to explain you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Right. New, don't save. So when we go to microservices, now we just remember, I told we have 9 different microservices. Let's say this is my developer. Who is working on UI. So this is our UI. Why is it coming as here like that? So this is our UI, right? And what I did is we developed independent microservices here. Let's take like 10 microservices. These are independent microservices which are deployed already, production ready. Now, do you think it is possible for the application to remember all the endpoints of all these 10 microservices? All these 10 microservices, it may have to connect to for getting some information. Let's say, for example, this is user information. This is if we speak about the Amazon again, or let's talk about our classic example of the Expedia, the flights, right? Let's say this is a service which will be providing information about flights, and this is my service which will be providing information about let's say hotel. Okay, sometimes I may have to book both together, right? So this is the information which will be providing about dynamic packages. That means flight plus hotel. This is one more service, right? And these services further divided again, right? I cannot tell only one service will do all the information, right? I have availability service. So this is my availability service to search availability of the flights, and this is my availability service to search availability of hotels, and this is my real-time price check service to check the price of the service, price of this hotel. If you remember properly, our prices will be fluctuating based on the demand, supply and demand, right? So these are the prices, and this is our booking service for flight. This is our booking service for hotel, and so on. So many services to send the information back again. So do you think it is so easy to implement all these things? Provide information to our front end guy. Hey, for flights, configure this. Hey, for hotel, configure this. For real-time price check, configure this. For dynamic searches, configure this. For availability, configure this. Is it possible? Do you think, I mean, like, is it so easy? It is possible, but is it maintainable? Let's say if you observe from this picture itself, like there are so many, the calls are all over the places. So it's gonna get a little bit tricky while you are going to implement this kind of technology, this kind of feature in your UI, or the person whoever is going to call that. For that purpose, so we will come up with a concept called gateways, right? There's a gateway, and again there's a gateway, the entire gateway. So what I will do, our UI guy will speak with only this gateway. We will configure the information about our services from this gateway to appropriate services, right? Based on our needs. Again, you can ask, hey, why do I have to add extra layer? Of course, even though it is a burden, there will be extra network hop while communicating with our microservice, but still, so it is a better way instead of doing going all the way. Again, there is no better way. If your microservices are too many that you cannot manage it directly, then this is a better way. Else, if you're dealing with 3 or 4 microservices, then there is no point of going for gateway, right? Because it's again extra added burden. Let's say if it going down, it means my pod, which the application or the server which I deployed API gateway, right, went down. That means from here I cannot reach to gateway. That means gateway is done. So that means completely I cannot reach to any of the microservice, because my gateway is a single entry point to any kind of microservice. So there are some disadvantages. At the same time, there are advantages. Again, there is nothing called right and wrong implementation. Strictly based on your business needs and the number of microservices what you are implementing, right? You can ask, is there any predefined technologies which I can use for gateways? Yes, there are some. I would like to name one because it is very famous. So you can search for this implementation of Netflix, like Joule, implemented by Netflix, Juul, Joule. That is the API technology. So all you have to do is configure, and it will be rerouting the information to appropriate microservice, right? You can ask, hey, this is fine. How about if I'm working with a desktop application? If I'm working with desktop application, if I'm working with mobile application, right? How can I do that? Or maybe if I'm working with app application in my phone, that means the screen size matters, right? And everything matters. You can tell for everything you can connect with API, or in some scenarios you may encounter your architects might have come up with independent API gateways, right? Independent API gateways. That means one for each. For here, that is for, let's say, web applications, that is for mobile applications, and what else for others here, rest of the thing like that. And again, they cannot rely on single instance of this API. They have to deploy multiple, because as earlier I said, if something happens to our gateway, that means we are lost. There is no connectivity with our microservices. So for that purpose, they'll be deploying multiple instances of that and load balancing that. So any questions on that, guys?
There is some microservice. So
Sorry,
we have an API.
I didn't get the question actually. Sorry. Can you ask me again?
Yeah, I'm new to microservice, so I getting confused. Means we have an API gateway which is act as a single entry point. Means
Yes.
how API gateway actually know whatever the request sent by end user, means client, how it know what means which microservice they needed to call.
So that is a configuration which you have to do in your API, right? So okay, let me put it this way. Do your microservice has a name? Do your microservice has an appropriate URL rerouting? That means, let's say, let me write it here. I'll be writing like that. Slash. I'm taking the same example, right? Search. That is one microservice. And slash. Let's say availability, right? And let's say maybe bookings or order, right? There are different like this kind of different microservices. If you remember our session, so whatever we are going to name our microservice, it has to specify the feature what it is going to speak about, right? What it is going to do. So based on this information, you will be configuring that details right over here in this part. Before sending it to appropriate microservice, you will be receiving, hey, 10 dot, let's say, let me write it down here again, like that. Maybe you configured everything, let's say xyz.com /search, right? xyz.com is my main entry point, and /search, or maybe if you want extra mile, maybe API/search, right? Again, one more, xyz.com /API/availability.order. Based on that, we will be rerouting to appropriate microservices, and that is a configuration which you have to provide in API gateway. Otherwise, your gateway doesn't know until unless you configure it appropriately. That is again configuration, guys. Is it clear?
For configuration purpose, so have you used any components, or how can it configure?
Okay, based on my experience, I'll tell you. So we used a configuration file, okay, .yaml file. It's nothing but properties, guys. It's a key value pair. YAML is nothing but key value pair. Okay, so there in the file will be configuring, hey, whenever you encounter search, this is a microservice which you have to look. My address might have changed after search, right? My address might have changed. So that configuration will be provided to the API gateway by using a file, external file.
Okay.
Still confusing?
Okay, Harish. Thank you. No, actually, I'm getting confused. Like, we have suppose in that case we have 100 number of microservices,
Mm-hmm.
and all of microservices before that they would communicate with API gateway, or they are independently.
Let's
Means
speak
they
about
did not communicate with API gateway.
I'll give you an example again. I'll come there. New, don't save. Right. 100 microservices cannot be exposed directly, guys. Again, so when you are going to do something, deal with some hundreds or thousands of microservices, what you will do? You will come up with subdivision again. Let's say Amazon. So there are departments. So that is my department microservice, right? This is my main microservice department called as department. That department microservice, how under hood there are multiple microservices which is speaking with departments, right? So that information you will be providing to this. Let's say I have to speak with sports department, hardware, home appliances, toys, um, maybe what else? What else? Sports done, toys, maybe electronics, something like electronics here. So again, under this microservice, there will be some other microservices under the sports, like baseball, cricket, kabaddi, volleyball. So like that you will be segregating. Not API gateway will take care of entire communication, guys, right? So it will be like this whenever you design a microservice. So first you will identify the need for dividing a microservice. Of course, you're not going to do that. Your architects will do that. As a fresher, we're not going to do, or as a senior software, no. Only architect has that capacity. Okay. First, they will identify the need for microservice, and they'll check, is this microservice can further be segregated into independent components? If so, okay, let's do this way, whatever I just showed you guys right now. So now my API gateway will be here, right? My API gateway will be talking to, from here to here, will be talking to department service, forwarding the request here. My department service will gather the information required and returns back. So it doesn't mean that if you have 100 microservices, you will be providing all the information in a single gateway. You can maintain multiple gateways also. Again, depends on your needs. Is it clear?
Okay.
You may ask
Yes,
me,
it is
how
clear.
do my department service know there are hundreds of microservices under it? Based on
Yes.
configuration. Let's say you might have configured like, hey, I'm dealing with 15 departments. So I will be having 15 independent services. So again, it's a configuration.
Okay.
Now does it make sense or still got confused?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's clear. But if you have like a small amount of microservice, like 2, 3 microservice, in that case, should you use that same API gateway?
There is no need of API gateway if it is just 2, 3.
Okay, then how they are one microservice? If client needs if one microservice wants another microservice, then how it will be actually know what are the components that time we have used?
So let's say again, let me take a pencil here. I was writing, let's say this is my, okay. Uh, do you have any specific scenario? Because I will explain in that scenario only.
Yes. Uh, Suppose we have a um, movie, means we can say what, uh,
So okay, it's
we
okay.
have a suppose movie release one monolithic application,
Okay,
right?
movies. Okay.
And we have separate microservices. In that case, we have divided that monolithic into separate microservices for our EG purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose for that, one is we have developed movie ticket, means ticket booking,
Yes.
and another one we are developing for review purpose, means
Just a minute, please. Just a minute. I
movie
will
review.
put everything down. Okay, just a minute. So this is our monolith. We are converting our monolith into different microservices. So this is one microservice. Let's name it. Okay, this is one more microservice, and this is one more microservice for now. So let's name these microservices. So this is releases, RELEASES, right? This is reviews.
Ticket booking.
This is booking.
Reviews.
Perfect. Right. What else?
Yes. Suppose we have these three microservices only. How do they actually communicate with each other? Means if release want booking information, then how it's got that information?
Okay, if I need, let's say for example,
Because everyone communicate with each other, means
okay,
one
now
microservices
let,
need
let,
another
let
microservice.
me form a relationship here. So once a movie got released, okay, from here I am retrieving the released movie information, right? At the same time, I need the reviews also, right? So everybody wants to look at the reviews. They need to know a review for a release for a movie. So at that point of time, microservice is dependent on reviews to get the information, right? So it will call this microservice and it will
Yes.
return some of the information, and I'll consume the microservice here, and I'll return merge together, and I'll return to here. Did I answer question? Like again, if you ask how it
Yes.
knows, you need to configure. It's everything configuration. I'll be showing you in the code how I'll be configuring that with an example.
Everyone should communicate with each other, right?
Yeah, that's what that is a picture which I showed right in our PPT.
Mhm.
If you go here,
Yes, yes.
right over here, there is a communication with all the microservices
Okay. How do they actually communicate?
by using, so okay, microservice, it uses over HTTP. Again, microservice is not something new, guys. It is just a REST service. It's independent component. That's all. And the in microservices, the communication will be purely on HTTP or HTTPS.
Okay.
HTTP is a communication protocol.
Okay. Okay, Haris. Yeah.
Clear? Any
Thank
questions
you,
still?
Haris. No, Haris. It's a little bit. It's clear. When I go to application, then I think it's more
Yeah,
clear.
I'll be showing you some information like how we will be configuring the details, okay, and how we'll be getting the information.
Okay, Haris. Thank you. Thank you, Haris.
Anyway, I'll be showing that with an example, but I just wanted to I just wanted to give you guys a clear picture of what is a microservice and how they will communicate with each other, right? Always, guys, remember, whenever there is a need for communication, right, our microservice is not something like a magic. It knows, hey, I need this communication, I need to get it. No, it is again a coding principle. You need to specify something saying that, hey, for this information, you need to get it from somebody else. You don't have that like that. You need to provide the information like in the configuration file, let's say in application.properties, or maybe you can write your own like I want like something like, let's say, truck management dot properties. I don't want to use application dot properties. Again, you need to read the properties file whenever is required, and we can get the information. It is similar to imagine like in monolith also, your application is dependent on JDBC, right? I mean like Oracle. How does it know it is dependent on Oracle? Based on the configuration which you provided. If you speak about the Spring Boot applications which we developed in the application.properties, we specified data source, URL, and everything. So there is like instruction saying that, hey, there is some external dependency for you to work, right? So you need to follow this, otherwise you will not get that done. So it's similarly, if there is a configuration, if there is a need for communicating with another microservice, we'll be providing the microservice details. Clear?
Okay, yeah, clear.
Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Any other concerns? Or maybe if you guys didn't understand, please let me know, because I'll be speaking this. I'll explain again.
Yeah, Rish, suppose we need to convert one monolith into microservice.
Yes.
From where we will start, or how we will start those things? Suppose the monolith is in working condition in production.
Okay.
What will be the steps we will be following?
First, we won't be like removing from the production as it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So that production application will still continue until unless all your microservices are up and running as a complete application, right? So now what we are going to do is first things first, right? You will be finding the need for microservices. That means you will find out how can I divide this monolith into microservices, right? You'll come up with the architecture style. Okay, hey, this is a monolith. I need like 4 microservices. Let's take an example of again. Let's say our truck fleet management only, for example, again. Okay, as of now, it's a very simple application. As my requirements change and it grows exponentially, and I need to, like I said on that day, I need to include some of the features like booking feature, and I need to include some of the features like a person can register his truck and keep it for rent. All these kind of features came up, right? Now I'm not able to maintain everything, as it was not meant for that, but still, as the user demanded, we implemented those functionalities and became a big monolith. Now what I will do is I'll come up with a solution saying that, hey, it's very hard to maintain for me in a single monolith, and performance issues are there. I'll come up with like this. So first, let's think about my features. What are the features I'm implementing here? First, a user has to register his truck. Okay, let's keep that one as a first functionality. Second, somebody has to search it, right? That is my second functionality. 3, somebody has to book it. That is my third functionality. Fourth, once everything is done, I may have to generate reports for my internal usage. That is my another functionality, right? Now let's come to searches, or maybe adding a truck. Can I divide further? Okay, I cannot divide any further because that's a very granular level. Now search, yes, I can divide further based on my needs. If I'm searching for a particular truck, or is it for sedan cars, or maybe a coupe, or maybe premium brands, based on that I can divide, right? Again, under the search, my microservice divides like this: book, search, and then add, and then generate reports. And here my search may divide, like, let's say 2, just sedan and SUVs. For not let's not complicate that. Sedan and SUVs, like this we will be dividing the services. Now it is not possible for you to implement all together at once, right? So at the point of time, we will be implementing, let's say, anyway, I have data. I have my Oracle database, some database. So my monolith is already connecting to that. What I will do, I will develop my search service first, okay? Because it does not have any impact on the data. It is not going to impact the data. Remember, guys, it's not going to impact the data. So at that point of time, I'll develop my search service, and I'll hook it up to my Oracle. That means I'm reading the data. I'm not writing any kind of data to Oracle from Oracle. So I'll be reading that. In my monolith, there will be a control flow somewhere where it will be implementing such functionality. There, I will be implementing a call to this one. and that's all. This is how you're going to hook up a single independent components. Once everything is done, you'll be replacing your monolith with microservices. And after that, if there is a need for independently segregating the database, so you will take a minimum downtime, not much downtime, right? So at the time you will be spawning off some of the data migrators, maybe it's just a code which will be migrating this data to independent databases, if there is a need for independent database, like that. Of course there will be a downtime, but we will be trying to make sure that it won't be for a long time. So this is how you're going to basically, this is how, when I worked, this is how we did. That's why I'm explaining about my experience.
Okay, who will decide in how many these features, suppose search features will be splitted like two
Architects,
microservice? Only architects, or we will be having some contribution on that also?
again guys, I'm in no position to explain about that, because I don't work for the same organization which you do. Here, some places everybody will have voice. Say for example, the organization which I work, if my architect is, let's say, if there is something which I think it may be helpful, if I raise my voice, they will accept that, saying that, hey, yes, but the thing is I need to prove, saying that it works, like a POC. It depends on the team which you work for, guys. It depends on the team, it depends on the organization which you work for. And I'm in no position to comment about your organization, because I don't know about anything.
Yes, yes, when call is happen, means
Sorry?
design call is when the design call is happen, when the designer says this is the one, if you provide the suggestion as a developer, so they means think once and they understand, and if anything is wrong, they tell the drawback. If you do like that, then we can this is the face the issue and all.
Yes, guys.
Anytime they can get the decision also, means if you provide any suggestion, they will discuss on that, and they means clarify your doubt why we cannot do like that. So they provide everything, means understand the developer point of view also, and they explain, designer also explain what we can do or not.
Yes, guys. Whenever there will be a new feature or new functionality which you're implementing, or if you are following Agile, guys, so there will be a
Yes, yes, call is happen now. When the call is happening, everyone is there in call. All the developer, all the designers, managers, team leads. So they provide their own suggestions. We can do like that. We can do like that. Then designer can decide. Okay, they accept your suggestion or not. They can decide, or they explain why we cannot deny. If they deny your suggestion, then they explain why they are not accepting this thing.
Cool. So that answers the question. There will be design reviews, HLD, low LLD, which we are not going in technical about that. HLD is high level design, LLD is low level design. High level design is what we spoke. Low level design is internal implementation of each and every functionality. So reviews will be there. That means meetings. You will be always having time to discuss about your ideas with your architects or whoever is in charge. And it goes like that. And we are not going in there. Okay, that is purely related to your organization. So let's leave the topic here. Let's move forward in our syllabus, the microservices. Apart from that, do you guys have any other questions? Cool. If no questions, I will let you guys go for a break, and then we'll come back, and then we will see a simple implementation of two microservices. Okay, how they'll communicate with each other for booking the truck. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be back on 15 minutes and we'll connect again. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
So welcome back, guys. If you guys are at your desks, we can continue. Cool. How about others? Sure. Okay, seems like we have almost most of the people. Okay, let's start working on our microservices thing. But before going into implementation, so let me give you a brief introduction about what we are going to do here. Within the given the time constraint that it is very highly impossible for us to implement the entire truck application, but instead I'll be trying to implement two different microservices, and I'll show you guys how they will interact, how they can communicate with each other. Okay, let me go back to my this one, right, new. So this is our search microservice, search microservice. So it will be interacting with DB. It will be interacting with DB, and this is our availability microservice. Okay, and it is also interacting with DB. Right. So right. Here we are not going to go in a deep in implementation about searching and finding everything and all these things. My motto here is to show you guys how these microservices will be independently created and how we can establish communication with with these microservices, right? So what is my search will do? Basically, there is only one table, whatever the table which we implemented yesterday regarding the truck details. So it will be fetching the details from the truck information, and it will provide all the available trucks. Sorry, all the trucks, not available trucks, all the trucks. Okay. And now when we search for availability, so there is a records, booking records information in the table. So based on the booking records information, whenever they provide a dates, if that record is not available at that point of time, that means it is available, the truck is available. So I'll be returning a list of trucks, from here. Basically IDs only. I'm not going go in deep about like information about truck and everything. Basically ID only. So this is my search. Now here I won't be maintaining the physical truck details, right? I will be having a ID. I'll be having a ID information. So now here the object relational mapping, how it works, since it is these two are not in the same database. So even though it's MySQL, but I will be maintaining in two different schemas. I cannot generate two MySQLs right now. So I'll be trying to do it in the two different schemas. So I will be having truck information here, that information will be the ID will be stored in the booking table. That means if a truck has been booked, we will be having that ID here reference. For that purpose, to get the available truck information, our availability service will be speaking with search service. Our availability service will be speaking with service to get IDs, to validate whatever the IDs which we have in our DB is appropriate or not, to get IDs, truck IDs. So after getting that, okay, I will query our database and we'll get the information back, and I will verify with the truck the IDs whatever I got, and I will filter based on the IDs whatever is available. I'll be sending to the user. Okay, now there is a communication between availability and search. Any questions, guys? Is it clear what we are trying to achieve?
Yes, it's clear. But sorry for interrupt. Actually, I have one doubt. So
Yes, please.
actually, when I going some R&D about microservices, I saw there are actually many of components like there is some client-side service discovery as Eureka and circuit breaker, and instead of going for REST template, we have different types of load balancing like pin client, ribbon. So I'm getting confused. What are those components and why you need those components? Why you how you implement those components is microservice. So I'm getting totally confused in that.
So I didn't get your question again.
Means what are the components we have in microservices basically?
What do you mean by component? That depends on what is the definition of the component.
Means when I going some R&D about microservices, I saw some client-side service discovery as Eureka. I found
What
and I found Eureka, service discovery.
Okay, the UDD, I think. Okay.
I found some circuit breaker. I don't know what is that component. I found some, instead of going for REST template, there is some load balancing like ribbon, fin client. So there are many components in architecture, microservice architecture.
Guys,
So I'm
okay, microservice is a architecture style on which you are going to build your service. We saw services. Now I'm telling you about microservices. Why are we going about load balancers and everything? That is completely DevOps stuff. So once you create your microservice, so how you are going to deploy your microservice, the rebound, all those things are deployment related. We are not dealing with deployment here. Let's understand the service architecture first. Why are we going in without even implementing a service? Why are we going into deployment and talking about like how I can load balance, what is a rebound, what is a how service discovers itself? That is when you go into a cluster or when you go into cloud or maybe when you deploy it in a server, that at that point of time will come to um, for that load balancing stuff and everything. There is nothing to do with the microservice regarding that, to be honest with you guys. Microservice is just a one more service, just like REST service. Okay, the only difference is that we will be having bunch of services together in a monolith. Here each and every service is independent and it has its own component in the sense here I'm speaking about only DB, and it itself is a independent component, and there is no need to speak about the discoverability right now until unless you really go into deployment phase. And the rebound thing and the load balancing thing, everything will come into place when once you finish your development, once you go into the deployment. That's where it comes, like how you are going to manage your services, right? How you are going to manage how many instances you need, how you are going to balance. Let's say if I have 10 instances, how am I going to load balance these things? That will come into place after that, not in the development phase. We don't have to concentrate about development phase at all.
okay. This no, actually I alluded to some project that is Spring Boot microservice based project. So I'm getting confused in that.
Okay, that is because of the I'm not sure like what is the confusion here. Can you please ask one more time? I'll try to understand, analyze the question, and then I'll answer, but I need appropriate question. So if you speak about bits and pieces, I don't know what you're speaking.
Okay. First of all, I want to know about what is that service discovery? Why you need?
Okay, service discovery is something once you create your service, it should be available. So some other services should be able to find your service. That is called as service discovery. Why we need means, let's say in our case, in this picture right over here, so my search service should be discoverable by availability, right? To communicate with it, because there is a dependency on that service. Availability service is talking to search service. If I'm not able to discover this service in my cluster or my deployment phase, wherever I deploy, how can I speak with search? That is service discovery. Clear?
Okay, means every means those services should be communicated with service discovery.
Service discovery is a concept, guys. Okay,
I
it
am
should be
getting
discoverable. You don't have to register anywhere because you are not going to expose these services outside until unless it is a specific requirement. See, these services will be interacting with each other. So availability should know about search, right? So availability should know about search here.
Mhm.
in,
Okay.
in this particular scenario.
Okay, Aris. And what is that circuit? Can you give me some means brief introduction of circuit breaker? What is that circuit breaker? Why
I,
you
I
need that
have no
thing?
idea, brother. I never worked on this DevOps thing, so I don't know about circuit breaker. I can't speak about that.
Yeah. What is load balancing also like DevOps on the deployment phase? It's needed, right?
Yeah, load balancing under deployment phase it needed. Let's say that also I don't know how to do load balancing because I'm a purely software developer. I never did the load balancing stuff. Let's say you have 10 microservices, sorry, 10 instances of same search. Okay, 10 instances of same search like this you deployed 10 different replicas. So how, whenever there is a request comes to our search availability, so availability is here like this. So there is a nginx server, so which is basically a load balancer. So how you are going to manage the load? So you'll be sending here to all the all the deployment pods, all the instances of such service, right? how you will be managing this load. That is called as load balancing, how you are going to balance the load. So if you don't, there will be algorithm again, routing algorithms, which I'm not familiar with, I cannot speak about that. So if your algorithm is very bad, always it may send a request to the same instance, not the remaining 9 instances. So at that point of time, it will experience more requests, not others. So this will be ideal phase, the other things. So for that purpose, you have to do appropriate load balancing. That is called as load balancing, equally distributing the load to all the available instances.
Okay. Okay, Harish. Yeah, thank you, Harish. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, if you guys are clear with this picture, let's quickly get going. Okay, for this purpose, we will be implementing or taking a Spring server. So I need a search service. So I'll be taking that 8, and I have my dependencies. Perfect. I'm generating it. Hello once. It's good. I need availability service. Availability service. The description is availability. So I need 2 microservices. So I am creating 2 microservices right away. Generating allow once. Okay, show in folder. Stop. Okay, we have availability and we have search. Okay, let's quickly import those into our new import existing Maven applications, browse, desktop, training, projects, search. Where is my search? Okay, finish. Cool, it is trying to import. I'll be importing the other one as well, guys. Oh, Spring Boot training, projects, availability. Perfect. Finish. Right. Okay, let it load. It's building the application. Right. As per our discussion in our search, what it will do is just get the details from the truck database, basically from whatever we created yesterday, that is same database. So I'll be copy pasting some of the code here. Anyway, it's again a service, guys. My main motto here is to show you guys how I'm independently creating 2 different services and how we are establishing connection between 2 different services. Okay. Now let's see. Search. com.truck.search. New. I'll be creating a beans file, that is com.truck.beans. Finish. I need a repository, com.truck.repository, search.repository. I need a package for truck.service. Right, I need to expose API, so I'm going to create one more package, truck.API. Right, let's implement that. For this purpose, I need a bean, so let's create a class. Let's instead of creating class, I'll just copy paste the same exact bean which I had earlier in our JBA truck, so that will be easier. So truck details. Okay, now I know there is no user dependency at all. So forget about that user dependency. Source, getters and setters, select all. Source, constructors using field. Source, all I'm just trying to do is just get getters and setters going and our constructor as well. Source, constructor using fields, deselect all. Okay. Source to string. Okay, perfect. I have all the information required. So let's create a repository, new class. So let's name it after truck details repository. Finish. So it has to, oh, it's an interface, my bad. So interface, I'm going to extend one of the interfaces, that is JPA interface. Sorry, forgot what is the name.
JPA repository.
Yeah, I'm searching for that. Yeah, it's here, JPA repository. So, and I will be taking my primary key by name of the bean is truck details and ID is long. Perfect. Let's implement this as a repository. 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 Perfect. Now I need is an API class. So let's name it search API. Finish. So it is a REST controller. Perfect. @get mapping value equal to search 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 all or find all. You can name accordingly. Public. So what I will be writing is a list of IDs. For now, I just need only ID. If you want, you can. Okay, let's return truck details. Truck. Okay, let's make it an entity, guys. So it'll be easy. ENTITY entity. Oh, not this entity. Sorry, not entity. My bad. Let's make it as a response entity. Response entity. Get all truck details. Right. So I'm not expecting anything. So I need to create a service to get the details. New class truck service. Finish. So I'll mention it as a service. So there is a dependency on our repository. Search. Or sorry, what is the repository name? Truck details repository. Truck details repository. Details repository. Truck details report. Sorry, truck service. This dot truck details repository equal to truck details repository. All I'm doing is just establishing the auto wiring thing and injecting the beans. That's all, guys. I hope you guys know that. That's why I'm not explaining about this again and again. Right. So from here on, I need a service here. Search 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 API. So first, let's declare the service. Private truck service. Service this dot truck service equal to service. So far, what I did, guys, I just created whatever I need for my regular project. That's all. As of now, I didn't establish any communication here because the communication is with the availability service. It will call the search service and then it will get the availability service, right? So for that purpose, we just created everything here. Now let's call the repository to find all the trucks, right? So truck service dot get all trucks. Create method. So it's of not void. It is of list of truck details, because my repository will be throwing me a list of truck details information. So that's why truck details, right? So from repository, I will be calling that dot find all, and that's all. So I'll be returning that for now. Okay. Now here I'll be creating a response entity, list of truck details. This is Jwt truck details. Truck details. Perfect. So again, my if else conditions. If truck details dot is empty, my response entity, I'm going to return a response entity, right? So I'm going to create that response entity here. Response entity equal to new response entity. I'm going to pass this truck details information, truck details, comma, HTTP status dot OK, right? In case if it is not available, then there should be an exception. So that means no details found. Right? No details found. Right? Even though it is a successful event. Now, return statement, return response entity. Perfect. All I did is just created a service to return us all the truck information, guys. Okay, truck information. Now, let's connect this with our database. Where is our resources? So I'll be copy pasting the information from our existing thing. Resources, application and properties. So I'll be copy pasting this. In case if I need some accurate details, in case if I am having some issues, let's copy paste this for safety. Right, everything is good so far. So it will be connecting to fleet management. Everything is good. Now let's implement our the availability service. Right. here I need everything again the same way, whatever we created. com.truck.beans for our pojos. com.truck.api for our API layer. New package com.truck.service for our service layer. I need repository, so I'm creating. We already know the flow, guys. That's why I'm not going in the regular flow of like showing how the control goes. Now we know everything, so that's why I'm trying to create it like this. If you guys prefer the other way, I'm happy to do that. I just wanted you guys to tell me what I have to do. Finish. Right, now let's do the truck search API. Okay, now you guys have to tell me in which way you guys feel comfortable right now, whatever I did, like because I did so fast in that way, or like explaining from how the control flow works. Anything is fine because we already have gone through this multiple times.
Same way, I think. No need to explain. Everybody knows the flow.
I need answer from everybody.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
How about others, guys? I know about Sahan and Akshay, they are okay with that. How about others?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Harish.
Cool, thank you. Yes, cool. Okay, now let's quickly create the whatever is needed for our availability. So what I'm going to do is the logic which I'm trying to implement here is I'm trying to find the books, I mean, sorry, the trucks which is already searched, I mean, which is already booked. Here, the condition is any person can book a truck for only 1 day, guys, not more than that. Okay, we'll go with that for now. What I'm trying to get is get the information of the trucks which already booked for that particular date. After that, I'll be filtering the trucks. Now let's see. For that purpose, let me call it as availability add, oh sorry, not add, finish. So here I'm specifying it as response entity so name equal to availability availability table name equal to availability availability. Right, so I need an ID for this, private long ID, assistance at the rate generated value strategy equal to generated type dot identity. Right, now I will be having only one column, basically one more column for the truck ID and the date which it has been booked for. So for that purpose, I'll be using a long truck ID at the rate column name truck underscore ID column name. I need the date which it has been booked for. So occupancy date. OCCU occupancy date, PANCYDAT occupancy date, occupancy underscore date. Perfect. Private date, it's of type SQL, guys. I'm going to take SQL date. OCCU OC, spelling mistake. OCCU. ANCY, occupancy date. Perfect. So that is name equal to. That's all, guys. I'll be generating setters and getters. Source, getters and setters, select all. Okay. Source, constructors using fields. Source, I'll be generating parameterized constructor as well. Okay. Are they in toString? Perfect. Now I have that. I will be creating.
Why
Yes, please.
why we are using SQL date? Why we are not using util date?
Can use anything, it doesn't matter. If you use util date at the rate, you have to use one more field. So it can be done anyway, doesn't matter. So basically JPA supports everything, guys. There is a calendar date as well. There is a time as well. So
Yes.
you can use anything. So I'm using SQL date.
Instead of using that boilerplate code every time, you can use Lombok because
Yeah, I know
maybe
that you
some.
can. All you have to do is like here, getters and setters. I know that. I'm sorry about that. I could have done that earlier, but it's okay. Thank you for letting me know. Let's create this as available repository. Repository. So let's add this JPA repository. Crap, it's an interface. Every time I'm doing this. ext and yes extends my availability and it is long, right? That's all. So I need a service. I'll be creating a service for that class. Let's name it availability service, AVI LABILITY service. Finish. Oh, I forgot to include repository here at the rate REPO SITORY. Okay, at the rate service, we need a service. So there is a dependency for availability repository. And dependency injection. Right. This dot availability repository equal to availability repository. Right. Is good. Now let's create our API class. AVILABILIT availability API. Finish. At the rate of REST controller to specify it as a controller. So there is a dependency on service private AV availability service. I'm just injecting the dependency again, guys. It's nothing new, nothing that we don't know of. This dot availability service equal to availability service. Perfect. Now here is our, let's say it's a trying to get all available detail, all available trucks for particular date. So get mapping. right? Let's name it like availability, and I do expect kind of parameters here. Public, I'll be returning a response entity. Get ABI LABL available trucks. At the rate request param. So start date, string start date, at the rate request param. Date, string end date. Basically, we'll be providing, let's say if I want to book for 20th of December, I'll be providing 19th and 21. It's just only one day, as I told earlier, guys. Not much. Okay. Now it's our time to convert this into appropriate format. So for that purpose, I will be using a simple date formatter. But if you can, if you want to use this Java 8 features, of course you can go ahead. There is no way stopping you guys. Simple date formatter, simple date format, simple date format equal to new simple date format. So -dd, right? Now I need to do date functions. Date SQL start equal to simple date formatter dot format parse our date start date. Okay, after this I need to convert it into a new something lost there. So any questions, guys? Here I'm just trying to convert into a simple date format of whatever I need. Dot get time, because it accepts a long field. That's all. So I have my one more extra. I don't need that. Get rid of that. Add throws declaration. We can do a try catch here. Something goes wrong, not equal to null. So similarly, I will be converting the end date as well. Again, guys, our main motto is not about the logical implementation or anything. Here, I wanted to show you guys how two services will interact with each other and return the response in the required format. That's the main motto. How a microservice can be independently composed. At the same time, how we can establish a connection between two services. So if you are comfortable using Java.util date, please feel free to use that. So nobody's stopping you there, right? Our service. So I'm expecting a list of truck details. But I don't have truck detail information here. So let's do this. Basically, when you are constructing an API, so these models will be available as a document to you guys. So that means the contract. Sometimes if it is internal service, all you have to do is like there will be jar files, import them, models will come automatically. Models in the sense it's a beans. That's all. It will be developed as a common package. So here I don't want this to be an entity. All I need is I'm going to parse everything properly into this. That's why I need this information. It's not a column. It's just a POJO, pure Java object. That's all. Whenever I try to get a response, whenever I try to query the search API, so I'll get the message in the format of truck details. Basically, it's a JSON. So instead of parsing through JSON and find everything, it will be easier if I let that work done by our Java, our Spring. It will be easier. And that's all. That's why I'm making it as a pure Java object. Right. Let's guess that's the one. Source, generate constructors using fields. Okay, and that's all. Cool. So that is my new truck details. Truck details equal to our service dot get availability, availability. So I'll be passing the dates here, start comma end. So let's import that here, and I will let this be created in our truck details. Right. So if you observe properly, guys, in our this availability service, I haven't created an entity for truck details, right? So I have an entity for availability. That means I will be reading data from available table, and available table has only 3 fields, that is ID and truck ID and occupancy. This truck ID is what is a common layer between, or a reference between the availability table and the truck details table. Okay. Now let's see how we're gonna call the actual service. For that purpose, we may have to do configuration. Let's see that how we can do that configuration. Do here. So let's say search dot URI or URL, and it is HTTP colon localhost. As of now, it is localhost. That's why I'm specifying localhost, and it is 8889 slash and whatever the API which we gave here. What is our API? Where is our search API? So this is my information, search all. That is my API, guys. So that is the only information which I need for now. For that purpose, let's see. Let me take, where is our service here? So let me take private Spring availability endpoint, sorry, search endpoint, SEARCH search endpoint at the rate value factory. Is it value? I guess it is value. And then I can use the Spring expression dollar whatever the name here I proposed. Oh, where is my availability? So this is a Spring expression language, guys. Whatever I'm doing here, it's nothing new. So if you guys have any idea about Spring expression language, so this is what exactly I'm doing here. So from environment our application.properties, you can read directly like this. So your Spring will evaluate this to the value whatever it is there, and it will provide the value here. Any questions on that, guys? Any questions on what I wrote here? Cool, no questions. Now I have my URL, everything is fine. Now I need a way to connect to that our search service. So let's do that. So it will be returning a list of for me it will be returning a list of truck details, right? Truck details. So get truck details from service or from search, whatever you can find that. Now let's connect that. For that purpose, I'll be using REST template. There are multiple options, guys. You can use HTTP. Apache Apache will provide HTTP connection. So sorry, HTTP connection is by default Java's. HTTP GET, HTTP POST, HTTP PUT. These are some of the classes which will be provided by Apache. You can use them. Now I'm using the default class which is provided in our Spring Boot. That is REST template. REST template equal to new REST template. REST template dot get for object, or if you want you can get for response entity as well, guys. See, if you get response entity, so you will get the response, complete response properly. If you get for object, you'll get the appropriate object. So it's based on you, right? The URL, so I'll be using this endpoint here. And type, the type as of now I'll specify object.class, object.class, because our object class is super class for everything. I can convert in any format whenever I need it. So it is object, I'm trying to get the object here, object equal to this one. So now I'm expecting a list of truck details, right? List equal to, it's an array list. I cannot convert it to list, I can convert it to array list, right? And it is from object. This is a typecasting I'm doing, and I will be returning this list. This is where actual communication will happen with our service. So this is a new thing which we are implementing. Please ask your questions now if you have any.
So REST template is something old or new?
It is it is part of Spring Boot, guys. It is a new one. I mean, new in the sense from the Spring Boot it came, not prior to that.
Okay.
There are other ways you can use HTTP. Let's see. Let me put one more way here. HTTP connection. CO HTTP URL connection. You can find, yeah, it's net here. So HTTP URL connection equal to unequal to, first you need to declare a URL, like URL. Where is our URL? So it's URL java.net URL equal to new URL. All you have to provide is your URL, the data. Let's say I have to provide our string search endpoint dot open connection. Oops, something open connection. That's all. So we open the connection. So it throws an exception. So we need to cast it and everything. So there is an exception will be thrown. So if it is not able to find anything, and all you have to do is set your headers and setters and getters, http dot or get content. If it is get, if you are posting something, that set method and all those things is there. Set method, set request method. Based on that, you will specify everything here. Like if it is a post, you can put send post method. If it is a get, you can specify like get method, all those things. And you will be using a while the old way of doing that buffer reader, the BR read line, and then you'll be iterating and constructing a string out of it. So which I don't want that to happen. That is a legacy way. So that's why we are going this way. This is very easy because I don't have to write a bunch of like hundreds of lines of code. So this is a new one, right? If you guys want the old way, still I'll show that, but I need your inputs here.
No, this one is okay.
This is much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. So what I'm doing here is, guys, the persons who never worked on REST consumption, so it's just I'm telling, hey, use this REST template, go to that service endpoint, so it will return you an object, convert it into of our type. So basically it will give you a string, JSON string, and convert into an object. I need that information, and that's all. This is how a service will communicate. Now I have this information. Cool. So first I need to get the availability details, right? Availability details dot, right, find by, if you remember our name of this occupancy date, where is our service, find by occupancy date, so is capital, in occupancy date between BTWEN. All you have to do is pass your start and end, start comma end. So create this method, and that's all. So it'll give a list of it, implementation. Oh, sorry, that is I don't have to create query for that, my bad. Okay, now that is done. Now let's do the filtering based on, it's not a return statement, so I'll be getting a list of truck details. Oh, sorry, it's availabilities, availabilities equal to, why am I writing truck details here? Okay, did I by mistake did I mention it as a truck repository? Where is our repository? It's availability, right? Doesn't even care. It's availability here, availability service. So it is availability. Let's return null to get rid of that red color symbols everywhere. Now the actual logic of filtering here, availabilities. No. Okay, let me get availabilities dot stream dot map dot I to I dot get truck ID dot collect. So I'm just extracting IDs from the availability, guys. I'm not doing anything extra here. This is a Java 8 concept. Collector, COLLECTO collectors dot to list. So based on this, I will be filtering my truck details, which I have to forward to user again. So list of long list equal to this one. Now let's call this method. So it will give me a list of truck details. List equal to, I don't need a throw here. There will be some exceptions, guys. Of course, you have to handle that using try catch. But for now, for this purpose, we are not doing that. Maybe if we have time, we can do that. List dot stream dot filter. So I dot, where is our long list? Long list dot contains of I dot get ID. That means if it is not booked, I'm collecting and returning it. That's all I'm doing here. Collect collectors dot to list. So that is my return statement. don't need that here. So any questions on that, guys? All I'm doing is get what are all reserved already. Okay, filter the reserved things from our entire truck details and return it. That's all I'm doing here. So if you guys don't have any questions, let's create our database for this. This is search, right? So I'll take this. I don't want search one here. I will be going to, so this, let me name it a different database. Let's name it ABILABILITY, availability. Perfect. So this port will be 99. Need to run different ports. Localhost search all, perfect, perfect, availability, perfect. So I need to this here I'm telling sorry, where is that? I forgot to include that. So there is a way to tell that hey, create your tables in case if it is not existing. So I'll be pasting that query here. A configuration tag basically. So you have to tell our JPA to create tables in our MySQL in case if it is not existing. So like that. That's all you need. Any questions on here? Any questions on this concept, guys? Which are I told right now how to create tables. I guess we discussed it already, right?
Should we use this or we should create the manually thing?
Basically, in the production grade applications, they won't use this. They will be creating manually, and they will be having a bunch of procedures, stored procedures, a bunch of triggers, events. So based on events, the trigger will be activated. So for that purpose, they will be creating manually. They don't rely on this JPA or Hibernate. Here I'm just showing you guys. It can be done. That's all. For the purpose, I'm using this. And now let's fix this. It is expecting a response entity, so which we didn't return. Response entity equal to null, right? In case if truck details dot let's say is empty, should not be empty, then I will be returning a response entity with details, comma, http status dot okay. In case if there is any exception, over here something went wrong. Basically, you need to do a multi-layer exception here, guys. By catching the appropriate exceptions and throwing that. I thought you might have learned that in the Java training, so I'm not explaining about that here right now. Something wrong. This internal server error. We're not supposed to throw the internal server error. We need to throw appropriate exception. So in case if everything goes well and we cannot find appropriate sorry, where is it? 404 found, 404 not found. Oh, sorry, it's not found, not found. Okay, this we cannot no data found, no data ABIL, no data available. Right, this we have to do it here. That is a else condition. In case if our list is empty. Right, perfect. Now I need to return a return response entity. So that's all. Any questions, guys? Any questions or concerns about the implementation here, whatever I did? Okay.
It's clear.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
No, it's clear.
Okay, cool. How about others?
Yeah,
Because I didn't
yeah,
explain much because I thought everybody know the functionality, whatever I have been trying to do here. That's why. If you guys have any doubts, please raise your voice so that I can rectify it right now.
no, it's clear, but maybe we have in that search API we have HTTP status code wrong.
I'm sorry, what is
It's
that?
by mistake.
In search, right over here, line number 37. Sorry,
In
41.
in that search API,
In the search, let's go to search.
search API,
Yeah,
it will be HTTP status not found.
that's okay because there is okay, I'll write not found. Perfect. Not found. Okay, thanks
Can
for
you
that.
go to the log details.java?
I'm sorry, what is that?
Log details.java.
Right over here, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, you want a bigger picture? Right over here.
No, no, it's fine. I think no, no, it's fine, fine.
Okay, cool. Anything else? Any suggestions, corrections, or any questions? Any doubts or anything which you guys didn't understand what I implemented here? Anybody? Okay.
Uh, at,
Sorry,
at,
yeah, go ahead.
at line number 30, the simple date format is y.
Oh, I missed one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, it should have thrown an exception. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you. Anything else, guys? Right. Let's quickly start our servers. But before that, I missed some of the configurations. That is, I need to tell that we are enabling our JPS and everything, right? For that purpose, I'll be copy pasting from earlier projects. I'm not going to type it manually here. So in our availability, there are a bunch of course, there are only two, one entity and one Spring Bean. Right. What do I have to do else? I have to go to search. Where is my search? Search also same, right over here. Search. Delete. Perfect. Cool. Everything looks good to me. And let's go to our application.properties. This availability does not exist, so we have to create a empty what do you call the schema, guys? So create schema. The schema name is availability. Apply, finish. So let's refresh. It came here, availability. You see, there are no tables. So I'm letting our JPA do the work for me. Cool. Now let's start everything. So this is our old code. So I don't want that. Here, cd space // cd space. Our truck name is search and install. Okay, build is successful. That is well and good. MVN spring hyphen boot colon run. Perfect. Our application started in 8899. So if you remember our URLs, so this is our URL. Let's quickly have a look at this and what kind of information we will get. So it's a GET request. Let's go here, paste it. I want authentication, authorization. Let's send it. Okay, I am getting bunch of trucks, right? That is good. Now let's start our another application. Where is our another application? That is availability. New bash. Let's clean install first. It could have been better if I could have logged it somewhere, the response. It's okay. I will log it right now after this one. Let's go to our availability service here. So let me log the information here which I'm getting. That list, okay, truck list received RECE IVD received from search list dot toString. Okay, that is cool. Build success. MVN spring hyphen boot colon run. Okay, it started. So 8899. So let's go to this one, and it's a GET request. I guess I have it 8899 search and start date in this format. Let's do a quick search. Search. Is it search or availability? I believe it's availability. Our endpoint, guys. Where is our endpoint? Our endpoint is availability. Right over here. So that's the availability. Let's send the request. Is it coming here? It's not logging anything. Not yet. Did we miss anything in here? Okay. Let it load. First, let's quickly verify whether our database got created or not. First step. Right, let's refresh that. If you see, there is a table which got created. Cool. This is good. Now, let's check the logs whether if it is going here. No, it's not coming here. 8899. Did I use wrong port? 8899 localhost colon availability start date equal to and end date equal to perfect. For some reason it's not coming. Let's check the accurator endpoints and let's see why our call is not coming here, whether we have the mapping appropriately mapped or not. ACUTATOR accurator 8899. What is the problem with 8899? Even accurator is not loading. 8899. Okay, that is weird. Even accurator is not loading.
No, Risha, it's ACTUATOR.
Okay, spelling mistake. AC.
Yeah.
Okay. ACTUATOR. Okay. ACTUATOR. Why is it not loading now also? Let's check our build again one more time. Started in 8899. Did I miss anything? ORM got configured, application got configured, 8899, perfect. It came now. See that? It's okay. Anyway, I'll be searching that again. It's somewhere was stuck. So you can see that list got received here. Anyway, we'll search it. No problem. That is our server got stuck somewhere. That's all. Come on. Sorry guys, today it is taking time. I'm not sure what is happening. Maybe there are too many applications open here. Window don't save. Okay. Sorry for that. So anyway, let it load. Do you guys have any questions or any concerns on the flow which we tried executing? If you guys want, we can do a quick book service, how it will interact. We can see that as well. But further, before that, I need this to be up and running. Why is it not loading? Okay. I don't know, something happened to my command prompt. It's not responding. Cool. Now it responded finally. Clear. Spring boot. Not again. Okay, now it loaded. Let's look at that right now. There is some linked hash map cannot be cast to truck details. I don't know that. It's okay. Okay, so there is a casting problem. Why are we getting it as a linked hash map? Util cannot be cast to truck details. Let's handle that exception, guys. Let me find out the appropriate place where we are throwing this. Get availability service 37. Let's go to availability service 37. Availability service 37. Where is our 37? Okay. What am I doing here? I'm filtering I dot get ID. Perfect. Collect list of collections. What? Okay. I dot get ID. Stream filter. Why is I coming as a I is okay? I is truck details. Perfect. I dot get ID. Unlikely argument of type int for contains object on a collection long. Okay, long list. Where is our long list? This is long list. Perfect. That contains I dot get ID. Okay. Long list. Perfect. Dot contains. Perfect. That is also perfect. I dot get ID. That is an why is it truck of type integer? That is a problem, guys. I could not cast it to long, so probably I should have changed it to integer here. Dot map of okay, there is incompatible types, so that's why it is having issue. New integer. So I'm converting long to int. There are different ways, but I'm following this way. Dot collection dot tool list. It is integer. Okay, now it should not have any problems. Int I dot get ID is int. Cool. Okay, now let's try that again. Guys, are you seeing any other place where we are going wrong by any chance? Okay, one util class abstract availability service 37. That's where it is complaining. Let's go to availability service 37 again. All I am doing is stream filter from list. I'm getting list here. Perfect. But why I am able to print that list? I was able to print the list here perfectly. Cool. I got the list. I'm filtering it. Util dot linked hash map. Did I use anywhere linked hash map by any chance? I haven't used. This is weird. So somewhere filter. Okay. Dot collect. Stream filter is ending here. I dot contains. So that is a negation. It's a predicate. Just collect. Collect is a to list. It's a list of truck comma object. So list of truck. I'm collecting to collectors or to list. Perfect. I have no idea what did I do wrong here. List dot stream dot filter. Okay, I'm getting a truck here. The truck I am going to get long list dot contains. So I will be passing truck dot get ID. That is my ID. So if it is not there in my list, dot collect, right? COLLECTORS collectors Java stream dot to list. Perfect. This is what I did. There is something different here. Same, right? Both are same, right? Guys, have you observed any change here? It is weird. It is showing me. I expected a list, but it is showing me a map for some reason. Okay. Is it still the same issue? I'll let it load. It's not loading. Okay.
We can try with cleaning the project and then rerun again. Maybe it will solve.
But let's try to understand why is it coming as java.util.linked hash map. I never use linked hash map anywhere, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's weird sometimes these Maven projects how these guys behave. Anyway, let's search for this linked hash map by any chance.
Yes, stream.map is correct, right? Availability stream.map. We use it that
No.
long list.
This is like mapping the mapping one object to another object, converting one object to another object. That's all I'm doing here.
Okay.
Maybe I have to do clean and install. I never used linked hash map here, so I can't find it anywhere. So if I can search for entire place, I can't find that. I know because we never used linked hash map. Okay, there is only one right now. Perfect. Let me run this availability. Git bash here. mbn -boot:run. Okay, starting good. Everything is good. Now let's get it. Cas truck details, util reference. Weird. I never used linked hash map. Somewhere it is getting to linked hash map. But anyway, I am able to get the response here. If you see truck list received here, but there is some issue with conversions. I guess I need to clean my project and get it done. I mean, like get it installed again. Sure, I'll be doing that, guys. Anyway, let's take some break, and we'll be back and we'll continue our discussion on the microservices. I'll fix it in the meantime. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute, guys. If you guys are back, please let me know. We can continue. Sure. Okay. Hope that got fixed. Okay, we are getting results. I had to return the same results, guys. There is some issue with project. So if you look at this, so I'm getting the results from our truck received from search. So and I'm comparing and I'm returning. These are return results. So this is how communication will happen, guys. If you guys have any questions on communication, how service to service communication can happen, I will be explaining in detail. Or if you need one more implementation, we can do that. It's up to you guys. It's up to you what you need from me. Guys, you guys understood?
I think you can explain this only
once more. Okay. I will be explaining with the picture again. Is it okay if I do with the picture, or do you want me to go through the flow again, the code flow? I can do that as well.
I think with the code flow will be better.
Okay, with the code flow. Sure, guys. Now, my requirement. Let me close everything. So my requirement is that so it is a thing. I have to use search to get all the truck details, I have to use availability to get only available trucks. That means for booking for a particular period of time, right? So for that purpose, I went with two different microservices. In fact, if you are working on some final year project or something, maybe let's say if it is not an enterprise level project, you don't have to do with microservices because it's very limited functionality, right? So we can implement everything in a single layer itself. But here, for our understanding, how a service to service communication will happen and what is a microservice. So for that purpose, I created two microservices. One is availability, the other one is search. Okay, and search is interacting with, let me go here. So it is interacting with this database. This is different database, and our availability is interacting with this database. This is altogether a different database. Cool. Now that is good. If you want to verify, you can verify that configuration here. This is availability right over here, and if I open search, that will be truck fleet management, right? So the implementation of search, very straightforward. So my request will come here, will search, goes to the truck details, get all truck details implementation, and then here we are finding all the details and sending it back to whoever requests that one, right? Clear with that? Clear with the search service here so far? Everybody with me?
Yes, Harish. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, yes.
Now let's come to availability service. So whenever I call a availability service with this request parameters, right? These request parameters. So that means I'm looking for some trucks which are available between these timings, right? So for that purpose, if you look at my database, let me open my entity object. So this is my entity. So I have only limited information here. So I have only truck ID and I have occupancy date. That means, so in this table, what I'm storing is if a truck has been booked or not. That's all for a particular date. So as I told earlier, we will be dealing with single day entries only. So I'll be inserting the date here. So that's why I'm going with occupancy date, only single insert. That is only one day. Now I have truck ID, but there exists no relationship because I'm maintaining two different schemas. Again, I'm showing you the schemas, two different schemas. So it is not possible to maintain mapping between two different schemas, guys. So that's why there is a mapping with the ID, and this is the ID. So it has to always be there whenever they insert a new truck, right? That functionality, I'll discuss about that in a real time how it works. But for now, let's focus on this availability, right? That is being said, now it come. I will be taking all the information what is required, going into our truck implementation, right? And I'm getting the truck details, occupancy, and then I'm filtering something here, and I'm returning it. But I'm not returning availability, guys. I'm returning my truck details. So from where I'll get the truck details? That is right over here. So I am interacting with the search service. So this is the search service interaction. Get for object. This is the search service interaction. So when you query, when you interact with this service, so when you call this appropriate endpoint, it is similar to the call which you made from a browser or from any kind of UI. Let's say in our case, excuse me, we went with Postman. So right over here to get all the trucks. So it is exactly similar to this. So you are getting some information here, right? So that REST call is also exactly similar to that. So I'm getting a REST call, I'm getting into object, I'm converting into my required format. That's all. And I'm returning after filtering whatever the list I have. So that's where I'll be getting this information. So the call happened in the service layer, right? Whenever I need uh, the truck details, because I don't physically hold the truck details. So for truck detail information, I am calling my search service to get only truck details, not the availability. Availability is on me, is on the availability service, right? So any questions here, guys? Any questions or concerns or anything which you didn't understand?
It's clear for me.
How about others?
Yeah, it's clear.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Um, okay. Any other questions or anything, any topics, guys, whichever we discussed so far? Okay. If you guys don't have any questions, right? I have one question for you guys. So we have been discussing about, let's say, I'll come to API. If I give this instead of REST controller, let's say I'm making it as controller. Let's make it as controller. Nobody asked me this question, so that's why I'm asking you guys. So is it possible for me to do this way? Nobody asked me that.
Yes, it is possible, but we have to place one more annotation like @response body.
Yes, exactly. At the rate response body, it has to act as a body. So that will be placed in the response body. So you guys are aware about this. Sure, that's good then. So it works. It is valid. It is not something like it is illegal. It is valid. Changing back to controller, REST controller. Right. One more question, guys.
Suppose
Yes, please.
how we will do this, the unit testing here? Do we perform unit testing or something here?
Yeah, we have to do unit testing, guys.
Okay.
So we have to do unit testing. Like I said previously, if you guys want, I can show one more mark here.
Actually, it is unit testing we have done in the business logic or any kind of means controller DO we can done.
No. Basically, okay, let me explain this. Unit testing is something which you have to do everywhere. It doesn't matter if you have a logic, right? Right? Here we have logic.
Okay.
The logic is we are exposing something here. Even though these components, this get mapping, which is tested already in Spring, the Spring jar files, right? But we are leveraging that feature to expose our own. So that means there is some logic is happening, not the business logic, but logic is happening. So we need to test this. It is our responsibility to test how it behaves. Okay.
Okay.
We need to test
Yep.
control.
So basically we can test with the postman, right? What we are doing, we are just checking the response, right? The same thing we'll be doing with the unit test. So what will make the difference between these two?
Okay. Unit testing. This is okay. I will accept. So right now, let's say our application has very limited features. So you are testing each and every functionality and saying that, okay, there are 10 functionalities working fine. Let's say there are some thousands of functionalities which you don't know, right? We never know how it grows. The project grows. You can tell that, hey, this is microservice, only one functionality. Yes, absolutely only one functionality. But this microservice will be dependent on, or maybe some other microservices results will be dependent on this service, right? So which you never know. So if you do this unit testing, what will happen? Whenever you are writing code, right now I just wrote code for this, right? For this appropriate method. So at that point of time, as a developer, I have a very good idea about this, like how it has to behave, how it will behave in different scenarios, right? So we will be covering all those scenarios in the unit test case, like one positive test case, one negative test case, one equals test case, like passing null characters, passing invalid numbers, like passing all kind of different gibberish things, how it has to behave, right? So you will be written that code for testing. So if something changes tomorrow, let's say for example, if I'm changing my date format from here to something, maybe I'm expecting from user to give me some different date format, right? So that will break my code. That means my code won't work as expected. That means it is an indication for the any person who is changing the code, saying that, hey, there is a dependency somewhere else. If you change this, it will break, right? The unit test cases will fail. It will tell you where exactly it is failing, why it is failing, because it is a way to show the dependency for you. See, right now you are developing a brand new functionality. You will remember everything. Imagine after a month, you lost touch of this service. You went into a complete new service. Again, there was a enhancement requirement, and you came back to this service, right? You forgot what you implemented already. Now, is it possible for you to test manually every time? Every time whenever you add a little bit of code, is it possible for you to test all hundreds of scenarios, or whatever the scenarios you have in your test sheets? It is not possible, right? So that's why we need an automated way, that is called as code coverage. That means how much of lines you covered the testing. It will be counted as, if you are testing this line, that will be counted as one line. If you are testing this line, that will be counted as one line. So you can ask, I'm not writing code to test all the lines. No, but you are writing code to run through the logic. That is called as testing. Let's say if you are calling this API, that means you are going here, 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 and getting a response, right? So that is called as coverage. That means you will be having a assertion on each of these fields. So that is assertion. You will be doing that. So that is called as code coverage, and that is required for any application, because I'm repeating again, because you cannot remember. So we are humans, we always forget. We cannot remember all the functionalities every time whenever there is a change, right? For that purpose, we need a way to tell if something goes wrong. Hey, because of this change, some other place it is getting affected, right? Please fix both the places. Don't send it to the production. It may break. This kind of indication. And to save time also, I don't want, as a, if you, let's say if your business is paying some, organization is paying some X amount money, that will be for developing purpose, not repeatedly do the same task which you have done earlier, right? It's a cost saving as well, basically. Did I answer your question, Sean?
Yeah, Rish, thank you.
Yeah.
If everybody don't mind, can we perform here mocking?
You mean like you want me to create a mock here for this particular service?
Yes. For
Yeah, we
this
can do that,
service.
absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
Sure. If you guys have any other things, please let me know before doing mocking or stubbing. Okay.
Mocking and stubbing is the same thing, right?
Mocking or stubbing, you can call anything. Before mocks, we used to have stubs.
Okay.
Stub is nothing but a mocked object or mocked,
Okay.
whatever you call that entity, mocked entity.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. Before going to mocking, I guess Akshay had an outstanding question, right? The builder pattern.
Yes, sir.
Right. So can you please tell me how you create an object before going to explain this builder pattern?
Basically, we have to create object by using new keyword like the Java pattern.
That is one of
Normally,
the way, right?
sorry.
That is one of the way.
Yeah, that is one of the way, or we
One of
have
the
like
easiest
class.
way. Right. Now let's see. See if there is no dependency on any object, that is well and good. But if your object is a very huge one, like it's really big, so at that point of time using new keyword is not effective. For that purpose, they came up with a design pattern that is called a builder design pattern. So what it will do is basically construct the object by implementing a little bit of pieces. Okay. To give an example, I don't have appropriate example right now. I will be searching for that. Let's just give me a minute. I don't have image also because I never expected this question. That's why I didn't get that to explain. So what happens is here, let's say, let me open this, my notepad. Where is my paint? So there are a bunch of things which will happen when you use this design pattern, the builder design pattern. First, what will happen? Instead of using a new keyword, right? So let's say if your object is too complex, this is one of the, sorry, let me increase the size. It's too complex object, like too many fields here. What is that? Oh, I can get that in. Forget about that. It is a too complex object. It has too many things. You can tell, hey, I can use new. That is not the best way, always, because it depends on something else. You have to pass the information by using new always. Like within a constructor, let's say hundreds of fields in the constructor. I cannot pass all the hundreds of fields, right? And in the hundreds of fields, there will be a subfield. That means it might be linked to different objects internally. This object might be linked to some other object somewhere else. So it may be a list of objects. An example, a list of objects again. This may be linked to somebody else. There is one more. So it's like a huge object. Let's say it is a very complex object. So at the point of time creating using a new keyword, what you have to do? You have to pass all this information, or else it will be empty object. I don't want that to happen. So even if it is empty object, you will be using getters and setters again. That will be too complex to build. Now what we will do? we will make it as an independent component blocks, and we'll be building it dot build dot build dot build. So let's say, for example, I'll create this object like using a builder pattern. So I'll be getting dot build as my class. Something, say for example, a dot build. So it will result me in something like this, a dot build. Now from that, what is my object? Let's say it has a b, this thing. So there will be like dot add b. I'll be adding b here. Dot build. Once I build that, again I'll add one more dot build. So it's like constructing your object from independent components instead of passing everything at the new keyword, using new keyword. I guess I answered that question.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank
this
you.
is one of the design patterns. There are too many design patterns if you discuss, like factory pattern. That is one of the design pattern which was implemented by Spring. Basically, Spring is completely based on this factory pattern and abstract factory patterns. And then there are elevator pattern. There is adapter pattern. Similarly, like to achieve, why we need design patterns? It's like to achieve the principles of object-oriented programming, like loose coupling, easy to implement, readability, everything. So we'll be using all this functionality, all these design patterns. Sure. If you guys don't have any questions, let's quickly go to our testing, and we'll finish the testing today. Okay, you guys want me to test search, or you guys want me to test availability? Pick it.
Availability will be better, I think.
Okay, let's do this availability. New class. Let me test it as like, oh, okay, which layer you want again?
Basically, we will be performing testing where we have some logics, right?
Service
So
layer is
basically, we'll be testing everywhere.
Everywhere. Huh?
You need to write
Oh,
test for controller. You need to write test for service. You need to write test for whatnot, everything else.
service is maybe good.
Service, you need service to test, or you need, I mean, like service in the sense the API layer.
API layer, yeah.
Perfect. Availability, BI. Pardon my spellings, guys. Again, availability. Crap. BILITY. Availability API test. Right. Finish. Now I need to invoke it.
We don't need to mention the package right now,
No.
right?
You need to
Like,
you need to provide appropriate package name, guys. I created in the default package, whatever it came up.
yeah. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I will be using this web MVC test, right? And I guess I don't have appropriate my form.xml, if I'm not wrong. So I need to bring up my necessary objects. So let's quickly go to our previous implementation was in truck fleet management. Sorry, maintenance, my bad. Truck fleet maintenance form.xml. Where is our unit testing and Mockito? Right. Let's go to, where is our form.xml, availability form.xml, dependencies. I am going to inject this dependency here, right over here. Right, that is good. Now let me go to our availability test. Here I need to specify runner class at the rate run with spring runner, if you remember properly. spring spring runner. Oops, like that, dot class. Now I have a dependency. For that purpose, I will be auto wiring, auto wired. So private mock. What is the name? Let me copy the name. I forgot the name there. I need this mark MVC, private mark MVC, right? And I have a dependency on our service layer. That information you will get it from here, right over this, right? I have a dependency on our service layer. So what I will do is I will mark that as well. Oh, sorry, it is mark bean, private. What is the name? I need to know. The name is availability service. Availability service. Okay, availability service. Perfect. That is good. Now what else do we need? Let's pick the test first. The test will be to get truck details. Okay, so right over here. Crap, right over here. Public. First I need to annotate it as a test. Private. Sorry, public. Get it's not going to do anything. It's going to be void. Get truck details. Test. Right. Oh, that is good. What else I need? You can use mark MVC or you can use REST template. That depends on you. If you want to use REST template, you can use that. But I'll be using the same mark MVC which I gave the example here, like that. So I'll be copy pasting that. I'll be doing the changes, necessary changes. Right. Availability service dot whatever the functionality we are marking. Let's go and check that here. API service. I'm going to mark this like that. Any date is not going forward. Any date, SQL date, comma, and one more of any date class, and that's all. So then I will return. Let's say I want to return this time a proper valid request. For that, I'll be constructing my private. Let's say I will going to return a list of. Let's say I'm returning list of truck details because that is what expected. Okay, get truck details. I don't want to return empty list here. Truck details. Why I'm not able? What is the spelling? DETAILS. Let me import that here. com.truck.beans. com.truck.beans. IMPOT import com.truck.beans. Truck details. Perfect. Oh, there are 2 commas. Now I have the truck details. Okay. Now I need a array list. Right. List equal to new array list. So let's create some truck objects. Truck details. This is for my marking, guys. Whenever something happens with a mark, let's say if a call is coming to our marking service, so how this mark has to behave. So I told any date, whatever you get, return just blindly a new array list. I don't want that to happen this time. So I want to return some objects in it to test my service. Okay. For that purpose, I'm creating new truck object, new truck details. So I'll pass 1. With number is a string. It is a dummy data, guys. It doesn't have to be real. So you can pass anything. You have liberty to pass anything here. X30, and year is, let's go with 2013. and I will go with, let's say, what was that? Previous owner, my name, Harish. 09 is all maintenance complete is a boolean, so let's return true, and that's all. So list dot add object, that is truck details object. Now I am returning this list. So now I will call this here. So that means whenever you encounter, hey Mark, whenever you get this kind of information, please call this method and return these configurations, whatever I'm providing right now. So in our case, I'm returning just only one truck. It will return that. So it is generic. I don't want that to happen. Truck details. Perfect. Now, is this our API? I guess I don't think so. It is not our API. So it is just availability. So just availability. Okay, and we need to pass our parameters. So it is I'll be copying from here, guys. I'm not going to type that manually. So this is the parameters it is expecting as a request params, right? Perfect. Throws declaration status equal contains expects. You can contain for anything. Let's say I want to find Harish in my current string, and that's all. You are ready to test your application, but let's cross verify. Did I mention everything else? How about JDBC? How about JDBC? I didn't verify. Let's see, it will throw an exception. Don't panic, we'll fix that exception. Right, mark MVC is done. Perfect. Run as test class. There will be some obviously exceptions. Oh, there is no unit test 5. I don't want that unit test 5. I need it as run with run configurations. Where is my unit test 4? Apply and run. So it will complain something regarding the data source. No runnable methods. I specified everything properly. Let's see, console. Spring Jwt 4 runner class. Why am I running with this? Okay. Did I add Spring Boot test, guys, by any chance? Do I have Spring Boot test here? It is there. Perfect. Do you have this? JUnit. Perfect. Good. That is good. Right. Run as run test cases. Run as run configurations. JUnit test case, JUnit 4, apply, run. Why is it not starting right now? Method initialization error not found opening the test cases. Okay. Did I import another test method apart from JUnit? Where is my test? I can't find test here. Right. Oh, it is JUnit only. Why is the problem with JUnit then? Let me import that again. This is the one I need. JUnit. I went with wrong version. Run as JUnit test. Now it started. Now starting. Okay. Now there is an issue with entity manager. That means our repositories, available repository, I need to mark that. Let's mark it, right? Because I didn't mark my JDBC. If you remember our proper, when I explaining about that, explaining about the test cases, I need to map, I need to mark the JDBC connectivity as well, right? So if you understand the problem here, that could not be found. So internal exception. Let's get through the internal exception here. So availability API test cannot be initiated because there is an internal dependency on availability repository. Error creating name with availability repository. defined in com.truck availability, declared availability, cannot create bean shared entity manager while setting the property entity manager. Nested exception is bean creation. Error creating bean name with inner bean cannot resolve entity manager factory which setting up constructor argument. Right. No such bean definition entity manager factory. So we need to create database connection or repository directly, at least mark the repository. Let's mark it. At the rate mark bean private. What is our repository? Available repository. Available repository. Available repository. Perfect. I hope this should fix. Otherwise, we have to mark the entity manager directly. But anyway, let's run this. Yes. Now I got some response. Let's check our test case whether our test case passed or failed. So it's a pass. It's a clear one. Right. If you want, you can add a number of annotations here. Unexpect, 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 or maybe take into a string completely, read into a string, and then do whatever you want, guys. You can do that. So any questions on this? If you guys want explanation about this runner, WebMVC test, why I'm auto wiring, I can do that, but I guess I did that already, so that's why I am not talking about that. But if you're not clear, please ask me. If you don't ask me, I don't know.
Sorry, my connection was not there. I didn't listen.
I'm sorry, what was it?
My connection was unstable. I think I didn't listen to what you said.
Oh, no. I'm asking, is it clear or is there any issues which you understanding the unit testing? Because if you don't understand, you need to ask me. Otherwise, I don't know. What is your understanding level like? How much you understood or if you don't understand anything, please let me know. I'll explain again.
Yeah, understood. Just one thing, why we are using available repository?
Oh, that is because if you remember our availability service right over here, that is dependent on repository. We are marking, so we need to mark the internal objects as well.
Okay.
We are not using
Got it.
Spring Boot annotation. Let me come to this test. So search API test. No, our availability test. If you remember, we are using Spring Boot annotation, right? If we use that, that means Spring Boot will load, auto configure everything for us. But here, I'm not doing that. I'm using WebMVC test. So you have to inject,
Yes.
because it won't create. You have to inject all the beans, mark them. That's
Yeah.
why I'm marking it.
And for that, we had the alternative ways, right? You mentioned in the class what we have the main class we can use.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Since IOC is handling these things.
Yeah, IOC, yes.
So you mentioned one another way, like using the with the annotation. I think with the @ with run with or something else was there. In that we were passing the class name of main class name,
Oh,
like
okay, that was for integration testing, guys. This is modularized testing. If you see this, the call won't go to service now, right? We are blocking that. The call won't even reach service. If you want, you can check the logs as well. So where is my console logs? So it never went to our service. If it has gone, there is some out system.out.println statements which has to be printed. It didn't. So it marked here, right? And we got the response from the mark itself. Marked servlet response. See that you can see that it got response from the mark, not from the service, real service. So this is modular testing. I'm testing only controller. So when you use that at the rate run at the rate class name, that Spring Runner, I guess I commented that out. Let me speak about that here. So Spring Boot test, that means it is for integration testing, guys. What is meant by integration testing? You are going to test all the application as a whole completely. So that means you are not going to mark the service layer. You're not going to mark the repository. So you'll be working with dealing with the real data. At that point of time,
Okay,
you'll be using Spring Boot test.
okay. For now, but if performing JUnit testing, so we'll be using.
Sorry, Shahan, you got disconnected there.
Yeah, I'm saying for purpose of JUnit testing, we'll be using this WebMVC test, right? For modular testing.
Yes, exactly, for the modular testing, not JUnit testing. JUnit testing, like there is nothing called JUnit testing. It is unit testing. JUnit is a framework.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Unit
So
testing.
it's a modularized testing. That's all. So you are independently testing the components, like service layer, like API layer, like DAO layer, independently, like that.
Okay, got it.
And you don't need web MVC test when you are going for service layer, not API layer, the service layer, because there is nothing called MVC. Because in the service layer, you're not exposing endpoint, you're not exposing the URLs, right? So you don't have to do MVC test or the MVC test. I guess if I remember correctly, I showed the other way also by marking the JDBC right over here, right? Here I'm testing the service layer, this DAO layer. Sorry, where is our service layer? I'm testing this DAO layer. So anyway, service or DAO, anything is same because we are not exposing APIs. So at that point of time, I don't want to go for MVC, that is model view controller. I don't want that. There is nothing called model view controller when I'm dealing with DAO or just service layer. Clear with that?
Yeah, clear.
Cool. Any questions, guys? I guess we are already past our time. If you have any questions.
This @inject mock you have used in this one?
Yeah, I mocked it and I'm injecting it because if you remember, I'm passing it as a constructor argument. You don't have to do that, but if you do it, it's better. That's all.
Yeah, here also we can use @mock bean, right?
Yeah, you can use here at the red mock bean. It's a bean, right? Mock bean, everything.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is an alternative you have shown, right?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you.
So, any other questions, guys? Cool. If no questions, I have a request from my side. Please tomorrow get Docker installed. Otherwise, you don't understand what is Docker because if I remember correctly, he was speaking about deployment, Akshay. So that is where deployment will come into picture. But unfortunately, I am not expertise in showing the what do you call this load balancer, everything. So I'll be showing the developer way, what we need to know as a developer. I'll be showing that. Okay, sounds good. Yes.
Yeah, that will be better. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'll let you go, guys, for today. Thanks for attending, and we'll speak again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.